Finally look to close out a nicely positive session. Yes, yesterday was also green, but not to this extent. Here's how the market's shaping up as we head into the final couple hours here. 1.5% for both the S&P and the Dow right now. 1.6 meanwhile for the NASDAQ here in Toronto, nicely positive. 1.4 for the TSX, largely thanks to this. 2.7% right now for crude oil, back to the upside after a bit of a choppy day yesterday, sideways action anyways, for energy stocks. There they are right now, all of them in positive territory for the S&P 500. APA leading the way, a full 5% to the upside. Devon, Hess here as well, SLB, Halliburton to name a few, 3% through 2, 5%. There's Nike jumping off the board again, 13% in positive territory. Again, it was up 15% plus at the high. Really nice day for Nike shares. We'll talk about earnings coming up here. CCL 5.9. Speaking of earnings, beat for them. They said going into the first quarter of next year, demand going to be back to 2019 levels, so pre-COVID levels finally for bookings for CCL. Retailers are strong. Automobile makers down there. Transportation names strong as well. Ford on a nice bounce back after a dip yesterday, 2.6% back higher. These are the tech names today. There are a few here in the red, FTNT, a couple over here in the hardware group as well. That's Western Digital, WDC downside. Transportation names specifically, but industrials as a whole having a great day. Look at Boeing up 4% on that FAA directive, accepting, if you missed it, some security fixes for their planes. AAL, meanwhile, FDX and UAL all higher. FDX on earnings, the airline's positive regardless. 1.6 there for the overall S&P 500. We're going to talk about Tesla coming up here, obviously. Finally, a bit of a bounce. Will it last? I mean, there's still 2 hours left, so as we saw yesterday, it was a bit of a gong show into the close with nothing but selling coming back in. No word on a Twitter CEO yet, but if anyone foolish enough is willing to do it, according to Elon Musk, he's willing to revisit that topic. Hope your afternoon's going well. Let's get into what we were discussing early on this morning. If you joined us at 8:30, a ton to look at this morning, including, that OP did reopen, if you missed that. OP initially was a split, then they halted the stock and said, no, we're actually going to do it tomorrow instead. So it was halted because of that. It has since reopened, so we'll have a look at that. But Shawn's here. He's going to get us kicked off this afternoon with a look at one of his trades.
Kickoff time, yeah, it's going to be actually well pointed there. Nike, kickoff, World Cup, got a little action going on here. It's going to be your trade of the day. It's Nike. Brendan just talked about it there on the recap. Of course, earnings today. So instantly it's on the watch list. I don't know if I had it on the sticky note, but we did have a great opportunity today to fade the rally in Nike. And why are we fading it? It's pretty simple. And I want to thank the chat as well for my initial position because I really wasn't looking at it. But we knew we liked Nike here. It's up 13%. And I sort of talked about this early on, about 8:30 when we first went on the air. This is what I said. You see this drop here back in September on their last quarter when we went from $100 down to $85? Just as much as we dropped there on what was inventory concerns, apparently they still have them, you get a bump up, almost the same move from 100 up to 116. So it's like a $15 move, top to bottom there, and then bottom to top here. And then you extrapolate it out and you go back to August where you get that high of 118.50. So I was like, you know what? If we get up to that 118, 119 level, let's have a look. But then of course we get distracted as per usual and we don't actually go back over to the name until we miss this top. There it is right there. 1850 comes into play right away off the open. This is 936, so I didn't scroll all the way back, but pretty choppy here off the open. A straight move to the upside, giving us that top. Once we find the top, I'm saying, hey, look, forget about it. We don't have the top, that's fine. But what do we have? We have hopefully a lot of momentum back to the downside. It's a big gap here to fill back to 115. So hey, maybe we don't need to have the very top. So what we did was it came back under and then we settled out under VWAP and under the 50 period. So already we're starting to go back below some technical levels. pretty easy to short, man, for me, because we just shorted into here against some of these tops, right? 117.50 against VWAP, against the 50 period. And then look what happens. Boom goes the dynamite almost instantly, out for a little bit, gives us a retrace back into the same levels again. So we're like, okay, we'll take that. And then this is where really the fun starts, because this trade right here is 117.50. Where's our outs? 117.80. Like we said this on the show, that's 30 to 40 cents. Look at this first take. That's 116.80. We're already taking 80 cents on our first. Boom, goes the dynamite down there to 116. And what level were we waiting for? How about 115? We just talked about it. It came close, but we didn't get the fill. Womp womp, that sucks. But then it comes all the way back up. We still have a third of the position. And then there's the take again. Where? 117.50, right into that area. We put on a little more shares because we have that top protection. Bang to the downside again. Where's our first out? That's 117 flat again. So we put another 50 cents or more, actually, because we're short right now, 117.71. We're currently short right now. Take that in, get a little bit out there. Should have probably respected the 200 period. We did it. I didn't. Comes back in, barcodes a little bit, dumps back down. Right now we're $1 in the money on this Nike trade. But again, sometimes you're going to see me trade, you know, so rapid, so many fills, you know, when it's scalping. When the stock has earnings and we have a $15, $18 move to the upside, I don't need to be in there taking 20, 30 cents multiple times. We can actually wait for this bigger trade. So today on Nike, I flipped the switch on everybody. We're normally scalping. This still classifies as scalping, I think, but we're still holding on to a piece here and hoping for a little bit lower. So trade your plan, and Nike today was a hold for me, and it's your trade of the day.
What a great move for Nike back to the upside. 15+% at the highs off of that better than expected report again. The talk, we'll get into it here a little bit more, but the talk was more around inventories and the inventory issue that they were having going from the summer into the fall seemed to be improving. So not as much sitting around. Make sure you grab that every day. That is the link to the watch list, guys. Absolutely free for you. We do your homework for you, and then we give it to you for free every single day. It's super easy. Just hit the link, enter your email, and you get that every single day. HTGM, for those who were watching the guys on the midday show there, 2 days in a row. It's very rare, I have to say. An intraday offering of this size, anyways, it's very rare, but HTGM was right there. That was the offering, gets through 7. We're now back to $6, basically, so below. If you zoom out here a little bit on what has happened today, firmly below the pre-market levels there for HTGM. 2 days in a row, we get intraday offerings. This was the other one that was kind of interesting today. OP, remember it was halted pre-market after they let it trade for better part of an hour and a half, I think it was. And the company came out and said, we're not going to do it today, we're going to do it tomorrow instead. So when it comes to the 1-for-10 split. So OP back open. I know Neil's in that. He's going to have a look at it here in a second. But here's not anymore, he says, so that's good. Electrek comes out this morning talking about Tesla going to freeze hiring and announced a new round of layoffs to come as, guys, yeah, Tesla, Elon's looking for someone foolish to take over Twitter.
I'll run it. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't want that job.
I'll take it. I'll take it with open arms.
But
I'll do both. I'll do both.
I just wanted to say about that OP, like I'm not in the trade anymore. For anyone that doesn't know what happened there with that OP, at least if you were trading, this should have been the case, is a lot of those trades in the pre-market got broken. So you will see I had 2 entry points, one here, one here. They just came right out at break even as if they never happened. That occurred around 11:30. So anybody that was trading this while it was briefly open in the pre-market for like an hour and a half or so, those trades are broken. I wish we were in a meeting when this thing opened back up and gave you the short at 50. I think that was probably a good trade to be had. And just look at where it was before. So if they're going to do the split tomorrow, then you're going to be based off of the prices when it was a penny stock. So this thing had support at 11 cents, and it had some highs at 15, and it had some highs at 30. It's the 30 high that concerns me now, and then that 15 before. I don't have any trades on Tesla today, oddly enough. At the open, I was looking for a fade off of 142. It ends up flushing the bottoms and flushed that bottom. didn't get up to 142. Maybe we have a chance to get there now. Because this is a strong, the market's right up at a triple top here. So some of the longs from this morning or the re-engaged are looking good. But if we fail those highs, Tesla never even broke any of these highs. So it's still a little bit relatively, it's doing better now. So it's about pace with the market, but it hasn't been quite as strong. I still needed to see it test that 142 area. But a nice trend break for Tesla today, of course, could just be a bit of a jinx. Could have just jinxed it. I mean, I'm saying trend break because it's up 1.5%, but still can't seem to break the highs on Tesla. 142 is still my resistance level.
All the guys. Okay, you guys might see here, what are we talking about? Tesla? Yeah, I mean, we went back and forth with Tesla earlier on this morning. It's actually going to be the negative stock for me today. It's not even like it was that bad. We got out of the way real early. So we got long 138. It's what we put on the sticky note. I really thought we could hold, whoops, I have the wrong thing on here. I really thought we could hold yesterday's bottom of 137.80 or whatever it was, right where we got out there. Yeah, 137.80. So we took it, we got a piece out, we took it again. You know, eventually it breaks the bottom there and we get out at 137. Was that a good out? Well, you're going to look back and say no because it ripped all the way back to that pre-market high. I don't really care about that move back up other than the fact that I missed that little wick bottom. But if I'm going to sit here and say like, oh, I got to take all these wicks, you know, eventually you're going to say, oh, well, that was a short and then that was a short there for sure. And then that wick is a long. So I'm not playing like that, but I'm happy to get out at 137 because it did break 136. So if I'm not using that as my out, this is probably it. And then it goes straight up. The disappointing part for me on Tesla, and by the way, Apple right now is more than $1 in the money, and I talked about that trade, first of all, on the midday show. I went live with Luke at about 12:30 or so, no, 1:30, and talked about that trade live on Apple. We'll do that when we get to Apple. But it's more this top right there that happened at 8:30 that basically we ran right into it. That should have been shorted. So I don't feel any ways about Tesla today other than I missed that trade there, but it was a negative one to start. Look, CEO be damned. Tesla's finally at a reasonable PE. Forget it, this is Ford, it's 5. I was looking at Ford. As I did buy, I should tweet that out, I bought some more Ford shares today. Okay, but here's Tesla. You know, I'm used to seeing 90s here, 80s, 90s, 100, 120, things like that. Oh, you know what I was still waiting for? We've asked for this a couple times. Now I don't know if it exists, but
I know what you mean.
Like a historical PE graph. Like when was the last time Tesla's PE was 46? Like you could do the math and we could figure it all out. But I was just wondering if there is a website that anybody knows. Please tweet me at TraderTV Shawn because I feel like that's pretty important, right? Like when Apple, it's kind of like the VIX.
I think
like
I might have found
we
one.
talked. Yeah, I think they're out there.
Oh yeah, Y charts. Here we go.
Oh, Y charts actually has it.
Y
Perfect.
charts has it.
Yeah. So where's Tesla? Go to Tesla for a second. So Neil's going to have it because I feel like the VIX. Every time the VIX spikes to a certain level, you know, you get that shorting of 35, 36.
Give me a second. I'll get it.
Yeah, Y charts acting like our charts and taking a while to load right now. But there we go. That's, I mean, all I need to see is what that is right there.
All-time lows.
Right.
Well,
so
I mean,
pretty much all-time lows.
Let me go 5-year.
Who cares? It'd be worse. Yeah, so basically since it, I mean, when did Tesla, so back in 2020, is that 2020?
Oh, no, I can't do a full
Okay, anyways,
chart.
who cares?
Doesn't matter.
The point about what I'm getting at here is that I think that the Tesla, at some point, at some PE, becomes attractive. Now, whether or not that's here at 46, I do want to look back at that and see where we go. But yeah, I think when we get through all this nonsense about who's going to be the CEO, who's not going to be the CEO, then I think Tesla does have a lot of room to the upside. It's down 60% this year. Like, I mean, this is supposed to be one of those darling names, right? So it's definitely coming off right now. As more COVID talk happens, you know, China's not going to be a success story for Tesla if we don't have production ramping up there. So I like Tesla now. I think this 140, if it holds, we've already done, let me just show you one quick thing here before I go. And I'm not going anywhere, but before we move on, would be this. We keep going back to the weekly chart on Tesla. Why do we do that? Because I feel like the only spot, there was support at 200, so we thought, right? And it actually was pretty good. We bounced around there for a couple days. But now we're into this area. So that very bottom tick right here is 127. And then again, if you keep going lower, I mean, it's going to get uglier. But right into here, there was some consolidation right where we're at right now. So if there is any sort of pause for concern, I think you can go long now if you really thought that this was a decent spot and start to build a position, understanding that, you know, you could fade out to 113, 120. I mean, 120 might be the ultimate bottom, but, you know, it's fool's game. sitting here, not end game, Neil.
I like 110.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. It's like it just keeps on going. Like you could just keep on going down until eventually someone's going to be right. And I mean, if you just keep on picking these spots, that's why I think it's important to wait for the earnings call, wait to see what the semi numbers come out for on that. Just wait for the next quarter, man. If you want to start dipping your toes, I don't think it's impossible to do that now. But for me, Tesla's not a buy yet.
Yeah, I don't think so yet.
I saw somebody post a chart, in fact, that we just saw there, and highlighted the fact that there's a head and shoulders in there. And if the head and shoulders actually plays out the way they're supposed to, it would put it all the way back, essentially, to before 2019. I mean, it was $30 going into the pandemic. Crazy for Tesla, split adjusted, obviously. Nike, let's revisit here, guys, because it was a decent report. First of all, a beat for them. Top and bottom lines, revenue as well was a pretty good number. But the positive talk again around this inventory problem that they had coming out of the summer into the fall seemed to be improving in this quarter. And they said it will continue to improve as we head into the new year. So Nike holding up nicely here.
Oh, these wicks. Well, we already it got talked about for the trade of the day. So, but the only thing to add on the daily chart of Nike, you can look at this. This is a 118.50 as a bit of a top there. I think Luca even mentioned it. I had it before the number we had at 10 o'clock. Why am I forgetting consumer confidence number at 10 o'clock? And I covered it at VWAP, but that was probably a mistake. I just wanted to be out in front of the number. If it makes a move to the upside, I still want to respect that top and short the 118 half. But I like the level from the daily. That's the only place I traded it. It's still it's a good report and it's above the 50 period, but the 200 period on the daily, it just never gave you a chance to buy the dip in front of 112. That's where I would have been long if it had come down far enough, but there just wasn't enough of a pullback. I really did think it could fill that gap in for a chance at a 112 long. Just never happened on Nike, and maybe we don't see it. It's just going sideways here today now.
All right, so we talked about Nike as our trade of the day. I just want to talk about, we reloaded that Apple. Remember I told you about 1:30? We actually took a mic and went on to the midday show. Well, I mean, I went on there to talk about this long back to VWAP, so I hope that some of you guys had that trade right there for it. But okay, Nike, we talked about the World Cup. We talked about a great report today, and there's the huge gap up. But then again, coinciding with, as we zoom out, back, now it's going to take a minute, back here where you're going to see some levels, and now it's not loading. But we did have that level that we talked about earlier, that 118. That's kind of where we're doing right now. And here's the short that we had for Nike. So, it was a good day today to short this name. We waited for it to settle down up there. A couple good shorts. Unfortunately, we have a huge gap there. So let me see if I can, there it is. So there's the move up. Here's the move early, settle down, right? Get settled up there. Take the short once we go back below the 50 period and VWAP. That's where we started turning. So we hit that trade on the break back down below, short there, have confidence, re-short it again, bring it all the way to the bottom to the 200 period. We didn't get out at 115, we should have, but guess what? Never fear. Right? Because when you're there, barbecuing up some profits, Nike comes right back up to that level again, up to 118. We take that 118 short, we hit it again back down for 50 cents, and now we're going to wait to see what Nike does. You know what? They talked about inventory being out of control. They were able to sell off some, could put a good EPS number, 21 cents earnings per share, good number. But remember about Nike. If China's going to have COVID, there's 5 variants apparently in China, 5, okay? And they're all throughout different regions. So what happens when all of a sudden one region maybe solves one of their variants and then another one travels over there? I feel like if China's going to have a zero COVID policy, the names like Nike, names like Apple, high production names like consumer goods that are built over there in China, you're going to have supply chain issues. So for me, I said it earlier, take your this is, again, you guys trade your own book, but I just think if you're long Nike yesterday, anywhere around $100, and you get a nice little bump up for 17%, that's worth taking profit. Seems like people are doing that today. I'm short the name, so I'm putting the money where the mouth is, and we're gonna see if we can take down that 115 again. I like Nike, I'm a shareholder, but like I said, I think it's time to trim some of that. And you know what they say, Neil? Just do it.
It's it's literally the best.
Nike's slogan.
They got one of the best slogans out there, man. You gotta love it. And look, I love Nike as a product. Ultimately, I mean, maybe not as much as I used to, because like now that you get older, actually, there's actually better shoes out there. When I ran track, I mean, everybody had Nikes, and that was just how it is. And look, ultimately, I do think we might have a chance if it breaks out to get a bit of a trade here. But like I said, I needed to break that barcode, give you a shot at some better shorts. I did want to jump back over to something else, just because we're not going to get a chance to talk. Maybe we get a chance to talk about this. We're gonna talk some Lucid, but we'll probably talk a little bit more Apple, which I'll get to in a second. But you'll see I have one short position on. It shouldn't be a surprise. Every time the market gets to the highs, I keep looking back to see if I can add to Intel. It's showing some signs of weakness. Just remember, we don't have Micron reporting just yet, but I'm going to keep shorting this off the high of the day, despite the strong upward trend, just because it's been working. But I looked the gift horse in the mouth when it got to 2670 here and couldn't break the bottom. Anything off the highs, when the market's at the highs, I think is a little bit relatively weak, and if you got a resistance level, I want to play it. The other thing worth mentioning, because we're not going to get to it, is Netflix just broke $300, and I don't know where the top is going to be on Netflix. I just know that it's taking the highs as the market isn't. And Trader Gorno in the chat was asking, do I like Netflix short at 300? The problem with it is A, the market's pulling back and it's still going, so it's relatively strong, and B, when you really look at what's going on here, like the next consolidation that it had, like the last time it made a move here, you had big gap down, and then you had, I remember this, it was like a 303 to 306 into about 300 channel. So it was a wide channel before it broke down again. So you had big gap, $5 channel, big gap. So it's entering that big $5 channel. I'd need to see what happens at like 04, 05, 06 before I consider it a short. Otherwise, it needs to be below 300 to even consider shorting this for me.
All right, I was just having a look at Lucid here. Ends up being a bit of a tricky trade to the downside initially this morning, but we hold some support from going back to yesterday afternoon, still up 1% for Lucid. This was yesterday, if everyone remembers, this 1.5 billion that gets closed to the Saudi fund in a private placement. So more funding coming through. And then today they say, yeah, you can get your Lucid Air Dream in Europe now. Some 883 kilometer range on that car, FYI. Here's Lucid though, guys, trying to get back above 7 this afternoon.
83s.
No, that's kilometers. That's like,
yeah, so it's 500. But I mean, there's so many that are down to
great.
300 miles.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like 300 miles for some of these EVs. Like that's not going to cut it for a lot of people, and so it's pretty good for Lucid. I actually didn't think it was. It was trickier yesterday when it did that big move to the downside because, quite frankly, wasn't expecting it as rapidly. We can come to the chart for a second there, Fahad. Like, I mean, yesterday I liked the dip buy, and I'll pull it back a little further because my plan of action was dip buy between 725 and 735 yesterday, and so those came in and then immediately stopped out, and then I had to jump back in the trade. So it's like take the hit, jump back in when it's a wick, and then I covered it before it could even break out. Today was a little bit more simple because I said, well, if we do the same thing, and I fool me once because it wicked me out last time. It's like it breaks this bottom. Once it breaks the bottom, puts in a wick bottom. Where's that wick bottom? Oh yeah, look 2 days ago at the low. Holds that bottom, jump back in the trade here. It never gets to the high that but I even said this as it was happening. Well, it did the same move and then broke out. I don't think it can pull the same move at the open and break out. In theory, to me, it should be weaker, less buyers when it pulls that same drop and pop. So I took most of it out in front of the low. Now it's off the higher low, back above VWAP. This was an easier trade today because of what happened yesterday. It required that stop out. Today just waited for it to make a bottom. And then off that bottom, it's been pretty solid. Not as strong as I would like. I would have loved to have seen it had challenged that 750. There's still a chance that it could do it, but I don't see that happening without the market taking out these highs that we're having trouble with.
Yeah, we wrote down on the sticky note today that we'd really like to see a 760 break, which is sort of where we got yesterday going. And then that didn't happen. So like Neil just mentioned, we just wicked, that was yesterday's wick to 790. The best we got today was 750 where it stopped. But we let it fall back in. And then once it made this bottom, you know, like this bottom right here, we obviously can't predict the future, but as soon as we made a bottom at 15 or 16 there, we started buying some 25s, went back up to the 200 period, came back in, we bought this and then went against us a little bit. We were waiting at 18, but then when it came back down, you know, that's 5 cents and then the rest is history. We started taking them out up here. I still have a piece on. We just took another piece out right there at 31s, and that was, or 30s. And then now we're waiting up here for 34. Then if we can get going upside, we'll take it. But hey, just like we just mentioned, the market's rallying right now and Lucid's just kind of like hold my beer. So I think that we'll keep trying those bottoms. If Lucid does in the next hour and a half come into 715 or so, we'll try the long against that level. But you know, other than that, we'll just see if it can drift the rest of the day. I mean, XPeng, like you guys were talking about some of the Chinese ADRs there in the chat. Like these names are up 9, 8, 9, 10% right now.
XPeng up 10% and Lucid up 1.5%. Come on.
Right. So are we making any sense right there? But again, I know that there's a reopen. There's the Chinese reopen trade. So that's probably part of XPeng for sure. Not probably, but it is. Nice little move up there for XPeng. And by the way, all we had to do was talk about Lucid, and look what just happened. I mean, how does, like, this is like basically the largest candle in the last forever since I've had the trade.
Ever?
Just happened right there. So there it is, man, 34. Take it, man. Hit that sign alert again. Right there, we're taking some more profit here. So good trade there on Lucid. Now let's see if we can go. My next offer is actually just at 37, which is the high right there. We'll see if we can, let me see if I zoom this back out. Right there, 37. That's where we're going to try to get a piece out. And then, hey, maybe we do take that 50 after all. Let's see Lucid right now with a nice little trade back up to the upside there, Brendo.
Yeah, this one trying to tick higher as well. FedEx, I was just watching, trying to get back above that midday resistance that was coming into play around 172.5, 173, 4.8% for FedEx. The report itself, you can see the initial reaction was higher and then lower. The number is not great, but they did come out and say they're going to promise at least more aggressive cost cutting going into the new year. That's what ends up getting this thing back to the upside, but holding 170 anyways for FedEx.
Yeah, I barely missed the dip buy. I liked 167 on FedEx, and you can't, like, okay, it bounces at 168, you say that's probably good enough, but really, the way I was looking at this trade was the same way Nike was above the 200 period moving average. I just looked at it, even said in the afternoon show, like that 160, it's about 167 here. You know, that 50 period moving average is what I was looking at. It's just a little bit beneath that, call it 166.5 on the daily, and that was my line in the sand. It had some previous support at that particular price. If you go back in the daily, since it tried to fill at least a portion of the gap in since the last earnings, and you know, it never really got there. And sometimes that's going to happen to you. I always feel when a stock is trending down or has this kind of velocity to the downside, that's not usually the time that you compromise on where you get the long. Like, it was falling rapidly enough on enough volume that I felt like I was going to get 67s. I didn't. I don't know if there's a trade here until it breaks this channel that Brendan just talked about. Might be a bit of a sleeper here. It was a mixed report, but hey, they had great numbers on their Express, which is a good portion of their business and probably the more important portion of their business. Everything that they were saying, however, in that call with regards to looking into next year, and if you looked at where they already had to revise, it's not that great for the economy. The overall economy and the outlook that they had in the call. But with FedEx, they already traded at a discount. They were already beaten up. The expectations were low. And that's why you're able to get the 5% today. I thought people would profit take and I could take advantage of it. They just didn't do enough of it for me to get into position. I might look for, if the market breaks the high of the day, this isn't a bad breakout trade at 172.80. But I don't know if you want to break out in a barcoding stock unless you have the market on your side or you've got a name that I think is a little bit stronger. You know, breakouts look a lot more enticing on things like Apple when they happen than on FedEx.
Yeah, I didn't even trade FedEx. I talked about that earlier this morning, that I didn't really have any calls on it or anything. I mean, we did look at Nike. I don't really love to trade the earnings names unless you do get, like Neil was just talking about, like an outsized move one way or the other. Then you could fade it or whatever you want to do. So I did that on Nike. We've already sort of reviewed that, so I'm going to have a pass right now on FedEx because I don't have anything to add, to be honest with you.
Right. I don't know, Fahad was laughing. Let's talk Goog L here, just to wrap things up. Back to the upside a little bit, back to 90 anyways this afternoon, 1% move. here for Google. Wasn't much in the way of a news catalyst this morning other than this interesting note. The NFL apparently nearing a deal for Sunday Ticket for YouTube, guys.
Fahad just told me that I've never said I have nothing to say, so he was like
That's not true.
caught off guard.
No, he said that before.
But I have a special announcement to make, okay?
You have nothing to say?
I have nothing to say, and I have something to say. And that is that, you know, if Fahad wants to, he was talking about some futures levels and things like that. So we're going to have Fahad fill in for Arun tomorrow at 9 a.m. So Fahad's going to drop some knowledge. He's been studying Arun's videos. And looking at the levels, and after about 3 or 4 hours of studying the markets, he is self-proclaimed that he is now pretty much a master of the futures now as well. So
here's what I will say. On Friday, when Arun was filling in for you, Fahad, he messaged Arun. He said, "This is what my comments would be."
I heard you guys going back and forth
regarding the afternoon futures levels, and he was sort of, and I sort of read it, and we were sitting there reading it, and I was like, Arun, this is actually pretty solid analysis. Like I couldn't fault anything that he was saying about those levels, and Arun was kind of like, yeah, this is pretty good. So. We're not just going to throw him on there.
I'm tired of the man holding back Fahad.
Yeah, well, plus
you know what I'm saying?
The other thing about Fahad
I'm done with this.
Fahad can't lose, man.
Free
if
Fahad.
you've known this, Fahad can't lose, apparently. That's what I've been told.
No, but I mean...
Except in bowling. He can lose all day.
Yeah. Free Fahad for trading. And
Dan Emmons, here's the thing. Dan Emmons in the chat, anybody can be a futures analyst. Try putting on one lot. Try putting on a contract.
One lot? Fahad would be putting on 20 lots.
I'm fairly certain of this.
Lot.
Fahad is exactly the kind of trader who their first trade
goes
would
bankrupt.
Would not be a single contract. Like it's not going to happen. It won't happen. It won't be one lot. It'll be more than that, to be sure. Not that I would ever suggest anybody start trading the futures their first time with more than a single contract. As a matter of fact, if you've never traded a paper trade, because futures are hard. B, there's also something called the micros. C, you can also just trade the SPY or the Qs for for 10 shares or 100 shares, something tinier. The futures are no joke. That's why not everybody trades them.
Yeah, I don't think they're any easier or harder than equities. I just think that it's just one of those things where it's going to be great. And I guess I already have a brand new hashtag, so you're welcome, Fahad. Free Fahad already trending on our chat. So, no, look, it'll be fun. So, no, in all honesty, right? Fahad's putting in the work. He's looking at some futures levels, and he's going to do something.
It was
good.
He's going to work it out.
Yeah, he's going to work it out. I heard last week we had Peter Schiff on, and you guys were talking for 10 minutes previous to him coming on, back and forth. I'm wondering what that talk was all about, because I couldn't hear that. There was some more nonsense going on. But yeah, look, Fahad's going to do that. There it is. Now I shouldn't have said that hashtag
now
free
what?
Fahad. Now it's all throughout the chat.
Oh,
no, he's not saying anything. He's already writing notes for tomorrow's levels. So yeah, he should be really fun here. All right, we're done. Oh, Google.
No,
that's
we never.
right.
Yeah, we
never did that. Yeah, so Amazon. We talked about that getting getting Thursday night. They paid. I think it was $100 million. It's about $68 million per game. I don't know if that's going to be a profitable venture for them or not. We'll wait to see. They're going to obviously in their next report or whatever. We'll see if they were able to garner more subscriptions to Amazon Prime or whatever. But you know what? For me, Google's been really something that's been really puzzling. They do have a great PE at 17 right now. We looked it up earlier. I don't know what's wrong with this chart. Oh yeah, we have that wick. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Looks a little bit better. So in the last 20 days, you have 3 or 4 green days, including today. That's not nice chart. So for me, I'm not long Google. I said that until we break 91. So again, we mentioned that today on our sticky note earlier on. I don't really want to be long this name until we break that. You could see today that's kind of been wrong. If you just sort of went long any tech name today, it's been right. So you could have got 88 to 90. It's great. But we've already, that would have been the very bottom to the top. I feel like you are sort of double topping now, if not triple. Well, obviously it's a triple top right there. So I look to fade 90 maybe, but again, it doesn't have the volume in it. I don't take that story as really anything. I assume they're going to put it on YouTube, and then Sunday Ticket would then be the second best show on YouTube. So I think they should probably try to do that. And then we're not scared. you know, the number one spot is tough to hold on to, but I think Sunday Ticket would be a fair competitor for number 2. And then we'll just go on from there, man. The market's up 1.7. Google's only up 1.17. So I still feel like there's something under the hood here. I almost feel like, just like we're holding Fahad back, I feel like there's something holding Google back. Like this should be a lot higher than where it is. So I don't know. I'm not certain why Google's all the way down here and continues to have such a low PE.
Maybe, and now I'm going to love this website, which is crazy because maybe they should like pay us or something.
Why charts?
It's the first place I could find these PE ratio charts when you were asking about it. So it's the first one I could find, but it's actually really nice. Like they show you, it was 16.5. That was a low in November. It's currently at 18. The way I see it is like if you want a dollar cost average Alphabet, like wait till it gets to 16.5 and then just start dollar cost averaging into it or something along those lines. I did trade Alphabet here a couple of times. One was accidental, so I just got out flat for like 5 cents. But I was shorting off of that 90 high, and I'll show you maybe I'll go to the 3 minutes so these executions look better. So I shorted the lower high here, was able to get a nice little 50-cent run, and then it came right back up to 90. I was short in front of 90 even. I had like an 89, 98 short that probably lasted all of 5 to 10 seconds. Like I was in, it broke the level, I was out, and then look what happened. Like right after it wicks the top, it's hard to see, it comes right back into VWAP. So I do feel it did a wick high here again at about 90.20. I do feel like if the market rolls over, Alphabet is lagging a bit, and I do want to have a look at that short. It's just that 920 is the new high. I think getting in at about 910 and 915 would be ideal off that wick top. But yes, for whatever reason, you're right, Shawn. This one has been lagging. I've taken a couple of swings at it short, and I don't mind this being one of the names that I want to have to the south side today.
The governor of North Carolina says he thinks medical cannabis legalization bill has an opportunity to pass in 2023. Okay, let's go over to Tilray real quick here, as we'll see what they're up to right now. Oh, yikes, that's still down to $3. I mean, we were at 5, I guess, before, and then now you're all the way back down. I mean, look at Tilray. There's the $5 top that we talked about, straight to the downside. I feel like the trade is so simple. I'm sitting here holding bags in these names, and it's just like, I could have made it all back 10 times over probably if we just sold all the pops in these names. And why do I do that when I don't have too much faith that these charts will load? But, every time, and again, it's not going to be every time, but if you just go all the way back, I mean, even if we just talk about 2022, there's a nice run back from 5 to 750, back down to 5, back up to 8. I mean, unfortunately, if you got out at 5 here, you did still good. You still got 60%. But then it goes even lower to 4. Then you get a little bit of a pop. Even if you sold 4 to 5, then you go all the way back down. And you could do this. See, the thing is, when you look at Clover or any of these other names, it's actually in a vertical line straight to the downside, a little slight horizontal. Maybe you get some dips in there. But see, Tilray has this bottom of $3. So I feel like you can buy these $3 bottoms. And then every time we get that bump to $4.50, you get out. I mean, and you hold half, or maybe not half because the trade's too obvious. Maybe you hold 10% in case it rips up, right? And then all of a sudden you get out, and then you redo that same trade again. There's $3 again. I mean, this time it goes to $2.85. There's $4.50 again. So this is 50% gains every time. And then maybe you did it again right there at $5. Now remember, there is going to be a day where eventually it passes, and then you can sort of reassess. But when there's news, when there's smoke, there's not necessarily fire. It's going to sound like I did that on purpose again, but I'm not talking about smoke and fire. I'm just saying when but I mean, it's just a saying, but this time it works. Every time you smell a little something there, maybe this works a little bit better, in the back room, it is being sparked up, but it doesn't mean they're selling pounds.
Yeah, just grams. But
is that all right?
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. And just to take the other side of that, not that I'm picking on Sundial or anything, but here, this is me. I'm going to pick on Sundial. Since the split, look at $2 on Sundial. Okay, so one way to look at it is every single time Sundial gets to $2, you've been able to see a move, at least maybe back into $2.50 and then into $3. However, the other way to look at this is if it ever breaks $2, I'm here for it. Like, that is exactly the kind of flat bottom break on the daily chart that I want to be all over when it happens. It's just, come on, like reverse split, hold the same support level for the entire quarter. $2 breaks on sundial. I'm shorting $2 on sundial. And I'm glad this got brought up because it's bounced off it for 2 days in a row, which means we could see that at some point going into the end of the year. Brendo.
Well, this one popped back up in front of me here on a volume scanner, but if you missed it, smaller loss for Carnival expected in Q4. There was some volume that just came in there, trying to get back above 860 there as the overall market actually on a downtick here.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for, I guess maybe it's not going to happen today. I thought maybe Carnival, after shorting it off the pre-market highs, it gave this flush initially. I don't catch that because you want to report earnings at 9:15, then sometimes you're busy doing other things when earnings come out, and you're not going to catch that move. So I tried shorting it on the way back up, got stopped out, and then I saw how strong it was. The call ended, and I was looking to see if it could take this out, get through the 50 period. I'd get long in front of it to see if it could break it past 9, and then maybe it would be a big runner. And I'm still waiting for it to break this level out. So we'll see. Well, it's got an hour and 20 here till the end of the day. There's always a chance that we could get another test of that high of the day for a bit of a break. If it does come down even further, I think that pre-market, that level where I got stopped, or I guess it was after the market open, at 835, 840, that seems like it's a good support level. But I'm not going to mess around with this in the middle, unfortunately, for CCL. Plenty of other things to be looking at. That OP, for those of you watching, it's about to, well, I don't want to say it's going to break down, but it's about to break, or it's close to breaking the low of the day. If it breaks the bottom, 15 cents and then 12 cents. Those are the support levels for OP. I've got this one on my radar. I wanted to short any pop, but guess what? It's not popping.
No, it's not. It's not popping nor dropping. Nope. All right. Okay, so just quickly here. Okay, so now it's starting to come in a little bit. Looking at Nike, I just want to talk about it because it was the trade of the day, and as the market does, sit below 50 period here. We already called the long today. Hopefully you're able to take that 1% out of the market, because when we were up 0.5% in the pre-market, we talked about it's even on the sticky note that we liked a long day. So I wonder if we may just hover here, or if the move has just been too great. I didn't expect this, but I don't think Nike's going to matter. So let's just go over to this quickly. I'm just noticing right now, and the reason why I'm not zoomed in too much is because I want to show everybody this 116.50 basically level here on Nike. Not only did it hold there where I was saying I probably should have got out the first time. Easy to say when you look back at it, right? Like, that's part of trading, and it says, oh wow. Okay, so Apple, before I go, Apple just spiked back up. We took another 80 cents, not another, but the same trade. So there's that reload there at 135.20. Out, 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 out. Like, guys, I'm long at 135.20. Just guess where my out is, right? First person in the chat wins nothing, but you win something in being right. And that is that, instantly taking out a little bit of profit. Then when it goes, 70 cents in the money, where our stop is 20 cents, it's like you got to take some out. And then I just took another. Do I think Apple's going to continue to rise? Of course. But like, there's the top again. So just like we're talking about that with Nike, here's the top, 80 again. So when we went back down into the 50s, I was like, if it comes back to 80, let's get out. Now we have a very, very small piece. We're reloaded down here at 135. I may do it again, but we are almost out. So we're almost out now. That was a good trade. Back over to Nike. So, okay, now Nike's starting to break lower, which is great. But I was just saying that if this level held, it was going to be a spot where we wanted to get out. So right now, it's starting to break lower. You see that top right there is 116.50 again. I'm just debating closing the whole trade, to be honest with you. You could always just keep getting out of pieces. But again, I'm trying to level up. So in the new year, I want to use more shares. I want to try to make, more accurate calls instead of just getting in and out all the time. So I'm just wondering if this is just an out right now because we've come back in. I trade off support and resistance all the time. That's pretty much my go-to. So 116.50. If it doesn't hold, then I think we got to get out. So based on that, look what's happening right now. The 50 period's coming down. I'm going to monitor this, and this is my out. So the 50 period now is my out. Because, hey, if I'm being conservative, then I would have got out right here at 70. All right? So now the 50 period's at 87. So realistically, the way I'm looking at this is I'm basically giving up 20, 30 cents by holding this when the downside is going to be huge, I think. We could get back to 115 if the market comes in, right? So I like this against that. The 50 period of 116.87. As it drips down, I'm going to adjust my stop, but that's where my out is for Nike in case anybody at home is following.
Yeah, I'm just going to make an adjustment to Lucid here because I can't ignore the fact that, it got right up to, this would have been the high that I didn't take in the morning at 9:55. It got to 7:38, 7:40. It just went to 7:37. I mean, I looked at this top. I just picked a couple of pennies lower than it and threw an offer out. Did not get the fill. It went right to the price, didn't print the offer. So I'm going to try and get something in a consolidation here as the market pulling back a little bit. So you want to manage some of your trades. I'll be upset with myself for not getting any more of Intel, but only a little bit. It didn't quite give me that entry point into that 27. So I don't think there's going to be necessarily, if it breaks down, this has had trouble breaking these lows, but if it breaks 2670, I think you could see a bit of a breakdown. Now Netflix is solidly below 300. So I didn't want this thing holding above 300 where I thought there was $5 worth of range. I'd rather be short in front of that 300 level, and now it's giving you the opportunity for the short in front of that 300 with the market just slightly pulling back here. It's still a very bullish stock, so I don't want to chase it with a 90, I'm not taking a 99 breakdown or anything, but if I can get something a little tighter to that 300 level, I'll try to jump into a Netflix short here, understanding it is a little bit against the grain. I feel like I've covered just about everything I wanted to. I'm not really looking at Tesla too much there. And, that's what I wanted to mention. Alibaba was going crazy for whatever. I don't know what happened here in Alibaba right before we came on, but it just kind of broke this channel and just started grinding higher. So as it pulls back, I'd like to see if it starts holding 87.50, maybe it goes sideways, could be a nice little bounce there. Because this really just started picking up steam, not on crazy volume, but it just started breaking out steadily. So I'd like to see if it can hold 87.5 to just jump into this, with the caveat that usually these Chinese ADRs don't do anything good in the last couple of hours of the day, but this made a nice little move. So if it can hold 87.50 even a little bit, I'll try the long off that level, give it 15 to 20 cents to see if it can run back higher. Up 2% today, so it's better than the market, and it made a late move as well.
Okay, just real quick here, not real quick, but we can just talk about it for a little bit. There is Tesla here that you had mentioned before as well. I just want to make sure, yeah, okay.
I did?
I think you mentioned it, someone mentioned Tesla, or you did before you went over to Netflix or whatever. You did right there. I just want to talk about it because apparently Ross Gerber, who's a big investor there, he's into Tesla and into Twitter, says, yeah, he agrees Elon Musk should get away from Twitter and move over and deal with Tesla, and says his prediction here, I said let it settle, right? I said let's wait till next quarter to see some of the numbers. He says maybe Tesla gets all figured itself out. Wow, Nike just ripped up theirs. I just got stopped out. So, all right, there it is right there. Nice stop. I don't know if it's a nice one or not. We might have just bounced off that level for Nike, but there's the stop out. I mean, Rolling Records said there's a man with a plan. Well, if you don't, you have a plan, it's all good and gold, and got to execute it. So it just makes that move back up, and we got out. So it's going to look bad because we didn't take that bottom, but hey, at least when we broke down Nike for you right there, I feel like we did a good job. We talked about, this level possibly holding, and that's exactly what it did. So hey, I mean, to me, I just feather in the cap, man. I mean, if we keep reading charts like this, then, I mean, I don't trade for today. I do trade for today, but it's about trading for tomorrow too. I mean, like when we start to see it, remember I said, like, I'm doing this trade now because I want to, pretend like instead of having whatever shares you have, add a zero to it or something like that. That's ultimately what traders we want to do. We want to be able, and I was talking with some traders yesterday, actually, after hours there. Some guys are hanging back there, chilled out. As I was leaving, we sat there and talked about it, and I said, look, it's great to have all of these, like, Tesla breaking that 140 or, obvious trades like that. But it's about waiting for these opportunities, having the patience that you have a risk profile set up that when these opportunities are there, you're not afraid of them, and that you take them, and that those are going to be the best trades. So figure out what strategy works best for you, stick with it, and if you're like an event-driven trader and you only want to trade like on big expiration days, or I heard some talk on the midday show about how important Friday or the 30th is going to be, the last day of the trading year, right? So like for me, I kind of go meh for that because it doesn't matter that much, but if you're a big person that's looking for volume at the close, sure. I mean, those are the trades that you want to look at, those mocks. That's why Neil, myself, and Arun, we show you those imbalances every day because, hey, there's strategies that you can build from those. So,
speaking of which,
yeah,
just to add to that for a second, the thing about, everyone knows you lose sometimes when you trade. I just got Netflix, by the way, but sometimes you're going to lose when you trade. I'll tell you, when you actually follow your plan and that you lose on something that you know was a good setup because you've worked on it, you back tested it, you're confident in it, it doesn't feel that bad. It's when you trade something that was completely discretionary, you thought, that's kind of okay, I'll just do it anyways, and then you lose, then you're going to be pissed off. And you don't want to be pissed off when you're trading. I mean, who does? Speaking of which, I'm going to two things. A, Netflix, but B, Moderna here. Moderna's back at 210. Now, you'll probably remember last week, this was the area that thankfully, when I waited for this, I made money short. When I didn't wait for this, I didn't make money short. That's obvious when it was breaking out. But the next couple of days, it was good at that particular price. As pointed out in the chat, there's some pretty heavy options action for this week going on at that 210 level. It's already wick topped up here. That's the better part of this trade. It's already taken 210, rejected it, and now putting in a lower high, which I find is generally a better setup for a short. When it's already trapped it, pull back, consolidation, short it to the top. So I'm kind of doing this on Netflix and on Moderna, but they're very similar setups. Apple's giving you a shot at that 135 dip again. We'll see if that one wants to hold up, but I do like a couple of ideas to the short side. Can't seem to get more intel, so got to look for some other opportunities out there. Hopefully I can grab Moderna. I did just get Netflix. I just wanted to make sure I threw that one out there to tell you I'm looking at it, but I was able to get the short here, 99.5 on Netflix. We'll see where it can go. I'd like to have it maybe take a shot at 300, may fail break it, and then I can try to grab more shares at an even better price on this name. And I did not want to forget, this is what I knew we were forgetting about. It was CEI. I got the ugliest, we were in a meeting earlier, and I got like the ugliest wick, which you throw stop orders out there, and then this is what happens to you. Ooh, I went too far. Like it wicked down, triggered this right at the bottom, and I was like, it's just ugly because I'm like, yeah, I'll take a little long off VWAP here. I was only shorting the stock all day long, then get wicked out. This actually has a chance, there's no volume, but it has a chance to do something. If I drew a trend line in here, all you'd see is a consolidation, holding 4, which is like 8 cents yesterday, and then a potential for a run. So this $4 level is still holding up. It just probably ran a bunch of stops like it ran mine, and then it's holding above 4. There's always a chance we could see a breakout. Looks like through about 415 here. So a 415 break on CI with a 4 stop isn't that bad. I'm still checking that OP. If OP does something, I'll let you guys know.
All right. Oh, man. I mean, I was looking at Netflix possibly here. Yeah, it's still at that 300 level. Apple's pulled back. Oh, good. Oh, I got that fill. Okay, we just got a lucid fill at 32. So I was just like, you know what, man, although we're just long at 26, profit is profit at this point. And it's just not moving the way I thought it would. So we just take another piece out there on lucid here. Hedge fund manager Dan Loeb. Calling Kathy Wood a stonk-hodler. Yeah, that's about right there. So a little bit of shade at Kathy Wood there, not from me, of course, from Dan Loeb. Okay, so there it is. I thought there might be something else there, but all right, so Apple's cracking. I'm at 135 flat. I don't want to give this one too much more. The market's pulled back. We're well below the 50 period now. The difference is when we were taking longs back in before, why can't I see the time at the bottom? So like this time is 120. So if you go back here, we were below, but we were kind of hovering around. Now, this is what I'm talking about. So when we took the longs the first time on the NASDAQ, you got to have some sort of a leading indicator of some sort. The market's kind of barcoding right now. Now that you get this move down, into these levels, like this is why, if this doesn't hold, it's an aggressive move to the downside. So I do watch out. Remember when the NASDAQ was up 1.6? I was like, I don't know. It seems like it's getting a little bit top heavy there, and it looks like we're going to be right on that call as it's come back in. So that's why, look, empty it out, man. Empty out your clip. So we did that, and I said we're very, very light on this. So now it's come in. I want to look at 135. I can.
Oh, I never got it.
Whatever, I'll just Shawn myself here. There it is. So we'll buy a little piece now with a lot more sitting down here at 135. So if the market comes down to 135, we'll take about a quarter more than we just put on, and then we'll just see if it holds. And if it doesn't hold, then we can get out of it for a small break. It's not really going to affect our net or anything like that. Well, it will, but not, not in a dramatic way here, as Apple's now pulling back into a level that I like. So let's just take a little stink bid right there at 135 and change, and then we'll see if we can hold it out for hopefully a bigger move. But at the same time, you guys know I am waiting here to see if we can get a lower bid coming through. So let's watch out for 135. We put up on a position, so hey, if it works, we'll take it out. I'm looking for a retracement back to like the 50 period. 135.50, man. If we could take 30 cents on this and hold a small piece, I think it's worth it. Let's get our, put our scalping hat on now and turn into that mode as the market is,
I'll put my professor hat on, say
it's almost power hour.
The definition of a stink bid is any bid placed a reasonable amount away from the current bid.
Yeah, that's not
best
really.
bid. It's like, you're getting away, like not a percent away, but if it's Apple, like you're throwing it 20, 30, 40 cents. I usually think it's even on a small cap, it's got to be way deeper. Like a stink bid's like, yeah, if it gets picked up, something crazy happened. I missed Moderna. It kind of sucks. I was just sort of talking about like that short
20 cents.
As it just goes to the downside here. So I might have missed out like the first $1 of the move. I might have missed out on Netflix. I wasn't able to add to it. It's now 60 pennies in the money. I'm looking to take about $1.50 on that one if I can get it. I've got to monitor Lucid as the market pulls back here because that's now all the way back into VWAP. My last exit was in the 30 range. If it can bounce off that, I think that's great. I'll probably try to take anything out I can get off any bounce off VWAP. I'll be pretty happy with on Lucid. But we were just talking about some of these shorts coming in here. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot coming down. I saw someone talking about Snowflake. Oh, come on, load up. I should have just hit enter first and then started bringing it up. There you go. Like a lot of these names are doing this off these highs, and I don't want to chase anything to the downside. If you couldn't get shorts consolidating off a top, it's a strong day. I'd be considering, are these things going to start bouncing off of VWAP and previous support? So Snowflake 144. Netflix, I'm already bidding this one, thinking I'm not even sure you take this channel out at 297, 298. Netflix is still, to me, a really strong stock. Like on the higher profile, this is bouncing off the 50-period moving average and trending back up toward the top on a strong day. So I'm more about getting out of this short and then understanding that you got a nice little retracement trade. And I don't think it's like we're going all the way back to the low of the day. I'm not treating any short like this right now.
Oh, man. I'm so close to wanting to flip this thing short. I don't know. So we just took Apple. It went up 20 cents, so whatever. Good trade. I didn't take it, but at least it went up there. If anybody took that, we just got long at 135.15, right? You saw me put that trade on, so there, or 16, sorry. And then right now, I have an average price, but there it is right there. So that's 20 cents in a couple minutes. If you want to take it, you could take it on that one. So the reason why I'm saying like I'm not sure what I want to do is because I looked at NVIDIA and I looked at AMD and I was like, okay, where are we on these? And it's like we are very, very close now to tip over. Like that's 165.25. Like this is the 200 period. It's really gone up. Now you're starting to flatten out, and you have some resistance and support. I guess it's not resistance if it's on the bottom. Some support here at 165. But again, the market breaks. You're going to head for, I think, a pretty big move to the downside here on both NVIDIA and AMD because they're both up 3%, right? And so I feel like if the market does crank lower here, you do have an opportunity to get hit on these two names. But that's 165.20. You know what, though? Apple worked for us to the long side. Let's... now it's coming in a little bit. I don't know what price to put on here. There you go. We'll just punch into 49 and, of course, create a little bit of a vacuum there. It just goes up 3 pennies. So now we're long there. Did I get an average price? No, I got 49 cleans there. So, all right. So now we're long into NVIDIA against that level. So that's 165.25. I'm not going to get at. I'm going to average in if it comes down to that price and then get out if we break through 165. So I like this trade. We just got long into Apple, which is working to the upside now, and NVIDIA. Look, man, NVIDIA is just going to be, let's see if we can ride the bull back up to the upside. If we can get a 166 on this trade, I think that's pretty good. That's going to be near the high of the day. The high of the day is 168. I guess that must have happened in the morning. Unfortunately, we have this wick here, and it's going to make the chart look ridiculous. No, we don't have a 168, so I don't know what our Like, why does our thing say here high 168?
Yeah, what does that
I
even
don't even see a tick up there, so I don't know. Okay, so 166.20, like I said, that's been the high. We'll see if we can retrace back. I think there's a good opportunity to do that. Nvidia's still up 3%. Let's see if we can get a 166 fill there for half, and then we'll let the rest kind of ride out if we can. So far so good. It's a 10 cents in the money. So we just given you 30 cents on Apple, 10 cents here on Nvidia. Hopefully it goes more. I mean, I don't want to, celebrate this. It needs to go up a lot more. My offer's near that 166.
Yeah, yes, sir. And look, I think we need a let it ride graphic. That would be a fun one. Because you let the trade ride, and that's what you want to do.
You think we should get some new graphics?
What? New graphics?
That might
Why
be
would
something
we want
we
new
should
graphics?
consider.
So we could have things better than flawless victory.
Yeah, because even that's a little bit pixelated, right?
Well, the problem with
I
that
lost
is
my Street Fighter. Hello, Lucas.
Your Street Fighter. I prefer Mortal Kombat, but my favorite character in Mortal Kombat is actually Sub-Zero. So it's a little weird to me that we have. I don't even know why we have Scorpion. For me, it's like I love Sub-Zero. I would never have said.
We do have Dell, the day trader, who's sometimes in our chat. He reached out to me, and he's working on a few things.
If you're there, Dell, I mean, yeah.
He's there. He's there.
Wait.
Trust me, he's working on them.
But I didn't see who mentioned Airbnb in the chat, so apologies. I saw it come through, and I pulled it up to see it make this little bit of a flush. It just went red on the day. I mean, just a couple of minutes ago, and it did this move, like 50 pennies on a breakdown. Good, classic, like consolidation break to the downside. Market off the highs. This is breaking below VWAP and holding below. But I look at this 87 quarter level and just say, hey, man, if you're breaking this, you're heading lower. We go higher time frame. Nice trend on the daily chart. This is actually breaking multiple levels of support on the daily chart. I know I was trading this thing yesterday when I thought it had a chance to break out. It could not maintain that break, and even weaker today. So I want to short this level, this little consolidation level here. If it doesn't work at this consolidation level, you risk like 10, 15 cents. Then up at VWAP isn't even that bad either. And I'm looking for opportunities in both directions. I don't think we see Lucid at the bottom there, but there's some opportunities potentially in Boeing I want to get to in a second. But I just want to get my orders out on Airbnb here. Boeing was another one that I liked for the long side today. It has the only trades I think on Boeing are going to be, can it break the top? Can it give you VWAP? This is one I would like long in front of VWAP. I think it's going to break, hopefully with Power Hour coming in just now, oddly enough, we have a chance to either break channel down, get a little VWAP retracement on Boeing, then ride it back into the upside, or it holds this channel and simply breaks out the high of the day, where I think there's still room to go. Gorgeous looking daily chart. I got to be on the Boeing train at some point here. I got to be on the Boeing flight at some point here and join this party, because that's one of the stronger looking daily charts you'll see. And when the trend is there and when it's moving, you want to have these breaks early. Will it break late? Only the market can tell us. But I think there's going to be a tradable breakout on this. Probably in either direction on Boeing. But Airbnb is a new one for me. Netflix, I haven't taken anything out. And I never got Moderna, so that's kind of frustrating. Moderna's only running back to the downside. It's got to be short up here. 09.5 is what I was looking for an entry on this one. Looks like we're going to have to be very patient to get that.
Yeah, and that's the key thing here, patience. I mean, patience pays all of the time. I got to find a register emoji right now, a cash register emoji, because I'm tweeting it out right now.
Oh, no, you
I mean, we probably have it on there too. I'm trying to look for it here on Twitter. I don't know. I'll just do a cash sign. All right, what we're trying to do is just talk about Apple, and we'll go to Brendan in a second. Apple, we're ringing registers all afternoon, right? So off of a big move early, you guys know that we had this big move there from 133 up to 136.50. That's $3. We already had that. We now go into register ringing mode. Long here, out, long again, out, long again, out. I mean, Brendo, it's register ringing day. What you got on the desk?
All over the place, yeah. ATVI just saw it pop up on a volume spike there, guys. Anyone who's watching this deal type of trade, ATVI, it was UK regulators saying the public response to Xbox's Activision deal were mostly supportive of the merger. So that caused a bit of a move to the upside there for ATVI.
Like, this stock still trades at a 20% discount to the deal price or something along those lines, which basically is telling you that the people that know what they're talking about don't think this deal is going to go through. That makes it, what's interesting about it though is you look at what's going on with the stock, at some point you're going to have to believe that even if the deal falls through, there's not a bad value in there. I think it was it? I want to say it was Buffett that was buying some of this, and sometimes that guy knows something. That's for what it's worth. But my approach has just been, you know, the day that it breaks out of this channel, I'll just assume that something positive happened with it getting that deal, and look for, this is on the daily chart, by the way, 77.5. Like the day it breaks something like that, I'll be really interested to just join the party because there's so much room to the upside, and you can always have a tight stop when you take a breakout trade. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. Like I said, I got into Airbnb. I cannot get into Moderna because I don't want to chase it. Like, why is it? It's always the one that you can't get into that works the best.
Correct.
You know, and that's just how it works when it comes to. I can't chase this $1 further at this particular point. So it looks like I'm not going to get that opportunity over there in mRNA. But Netflix, Airbnb will have to do at this particular point. I still want an opportunity at CEI or that OP, but they're not really doing anything. So OP is just holding. This could be interesting tomorrow, but I feel like the cat's out of the bag. You know, once everyone has their eyeballs on these little, I don't even want to call, they're not short squeezes, they're like stock split nonsense squeezes. Once it's out there in the ether for a couple of days, I think the hype is gone, and it probably ends up being a bit of a short. So I'll be favoring the short side of this tomorrow. When they do the actual, I think it's 10-1 or 1-10 reverse split on OP, it'll happen tomorrow. Today, there was a bit of a mix-up. They decided to delay it till tomorrow. They broke all the people's trades in here, including mine. That's why you see this nonsense. Break that trade, and then tomorrow they'll do the reverse split.
Yep, exactly. So good little look up there, guys. Let's just go again, man. We just talked about changing the game. I mean, there's NVIDIA. I can't, like I keep saying, man, I can't. There's not much more to do than this. I mean, NVIDIA, there's our in at 48, right? We talked about buying it at the 200 period, correct? There's the buy down there at 165.30. There's the out when we came right back in again. We got 54s or 53s for the out there. So we got a nice little average price. Obviously, all of us want this name to continue to rip higher. So what I was about to say before that actually moved back was I don't think this long is going to work. So that's why I took it out. And let me explain to you why before I make those comments, right? And that is that look at this move up. So the market moved up there, all right? NVIDIA during that time did jack. So that is a bad sign. Like the market started to move up there, right? We got 1, 2, 3 candles. So in the last 3 candles, we had to move down, but we did not, oh, you can't see this because that's stupid. I got to figure it out. Like I either need more screen space or we got to do something with that thing at the bottom because that's brutal. But right there, we had a nice move up in the futures. This didn't go at all. Like here's the move up in the futures. Here's NVIDIA. Nothing happening while that bumped up. So either it's going to be a late move for NVIDIA or it's going down. So I'm hoping for not the latter, the Former. Good one there. I was going to say the pregame. But no, the former, yeah.
Say whatever the hell you want. That's the thing.
I'm
That's
still
the fun
excited.
part
In the other pool, not the one that I'm in last in. Tomorrow, it's a big, so I'm like you, I'm in the final bracket.
Yeah.
And he has, for some reason, because all these quarterbacks are hurt, but he has to start Zach Wilson. No, but it's the Jets-Jags. But I'm saying,
Well, actually, that's
and
not
I
bad.
have to start Trevor Lawrence, who's been great.
You have to start Trevor.
No, I'm just saying, obviously.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. So it's just fun because it's adding some excitement to the Thursday night game because whenever you're in fantasy and you're going head-to-head,
I shouldn't have laughed.
you know, it's... No, but Zach Wilson, he threw 314 last week.
I know, but against a terrible defense. And if you watch that game,
The Jags aren't a great
Because I
defense.
watched that game, he literally threw a ball where like he just heaved it up, they hit his arm, and it's like floating in the air. His running back makes some ridiculous catch.
Right, and
so
obviously gets the credit for it,
It was the worst
yeah.
throw ever. It's like he gets a 30-yard
He's like
completion.
Baker Mayfield
And then he
over
had a
there.
late play in the game for like a 40-yard completion that was complete fluke as well. I'll get in a quick second. I'm going to get to Airbnb, but I have a decision to make in my fantasy league, and it's in the semifinals, and maybe you guys want to chime in on it. But I just grabbed the short in Airbnb. Inside this channel, I'll take a couple of legs out inside the channel, then look for it to break down. And if it breaks down, you can probably guess low of the day. So we'll ring the register on that, which is what I thought you were getting at. But you wanted an emoji for Twitter. I thought you were getting at that one. So I was about to hit the key.
register ringing is good.
You always want to ring the register, but the decision, as I'm getting to that, and Netflix, I feel like I don't want to look a gift horse.
There goes NVIDIA, by the way.
Because I already did. Oh, I just got the second fill on Airbnb. If Netflix doesn't break 298.50 this time, I'll probably just take it out, because I thought I would break this level, and then I'd be able to get like 150 to $2. But if it's only going to give you $1, then you take $1. Then I should take the $1. Then you take $1.
Then you take said $1.
Then you take $1. But the market's coming
You
down
dollar
here.
take.
I just like shorts. You know, I liked 3 shorts. I got 2 of them here. Unfortunately, I was unable to get Moderna, but I didn't want to chase that one. I know some of you were already looking at Moderna, and hopefully you got that short trade in there. But the decision I have to make tomorrow is I have Dallas Goedert, and Jalen Hurts may or may not play. He's probably not going to play. Because Gardner Minshew's the quarterback, and my backup tight end is Evan Ingram. So Goddard's a stud, and I want to play him, but he could have his backup quarterback. And
but I think backup quarterback's good for tight end, man. It's like that safety dump.
Right now I have Goddard in. But if Ingram goes off, because the guy went off for like the best game of his life 2 weeks ago, and he was on my bench.
I love Sunshine, but I don't know. I think Goddard is good, man.
The guy I'm playing is starting Trevor Lawrence as well. That's the other thing.
That's the other thing. So you could get
is it like a hedge?
I don't know. Talk to Pasha. You know, he sets his lineup against other GMs, so you have to. He'll tell you the good strategy with that one. Okay, so just
he's a smart dude, but I'm never asking him for fancy
real quick. NVIDIA there. So it's funny because we sniffed this one out, and I was saying that, you know, on a downside move, the market was not, you know, the market went up and NVIDIA did not. We saw that, which is why we took out. It was only a quarter at that time, so it sucks because we'll lose on the last three quarters, and you know, so it's not a great take there. But again, it's really peanuts. Like I lost 10% of what I've made on Apple today on this NVIDIA trade. And again, it's like, it was easy to get out of that way. I mean, we weren't super convinced of that. And remember when the market was up 1.68? And I said, you know what, I think we probably fade the rest, you know, possibly fade the rest of the day. So yeah, bias to the short side for sure. But guess what else just happened? What's up to Comp SRX? I said I'm changing the game again, and he's like, yeah, no problem doing that. And I mean, that's exactly, look what we did again. Like, you know what? Ultimately, when I'm seeing all these expenses go through because of Christmas and all this kind of stuff, man, I'm here to take some money and make some money. And if the market's going to give it to me, then I'm going to take it with open arms. So thank you once again, Apple, for giving me that trade one more time. It came right back. And I don't even have the big amount of, like, I wish I had my largest amount. I was waiting for even lower down here. So there it goes. We get it right back out again. That's a long at 13. That's an out at 25. It's only 12 cents, I get it. But my hit's going to be like that on the way down. So sure, we'll lose on the last bit if that comes in. But for right now, Apple just keeps on giving us the reload. So we're going to keep on doing it. A position that's in trouble possibly, which is Lucid. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Oh, okay. Good,
How are we both going to do that? I didn't even look at your screen. I only have 2 positions, Lucid and Apple. So I went right over here. It's in trouble. But I think it's...
I just noticed that.
What happened? We have the same trade?
There's the same 2 longs.
Oh, we both only have the same 2 longs. That's okay. You know, sometimes I'm long something, he's short something. I didn't
realize that till just.
That's okay. I think Lucid gets long again down here. So I'm waiting to go long again off some of those bottoms. It is a nice dump down. But remember when I got out here, I said, like, we're holding on to nothing now. So it was good couple outs there on the top. Lucid was a very easy one to get out of here. Why? Because you're right at that same spot again. It's just like when we did the Nike, and there goes Apple right back up to the upside, taking out 30 now. So that's a good trade. But here he goes. Look how easy this top is. Sometimes the trades write themselves.
Sometimes they do. I don't know what this is, so I'm going to defer to Brendan, this MLGO that just popped up. Look, it was blowing up my trade ideas scanner a couple of minutes ago, and then it just made another bit of a pop to the upside. But this feels like when you already have the big volume spike, you retrace, fail the $2 level. When you make the second push, usually the second push is, is it one of these? Yeah, okay. When you make the second push, it can be faded. But yeah, it's another one of those crazy movers. Okay, come to market, make a gigantic. Now I remember it. We were talking about this last week. Yeah, it's just making one of those last dish gaps. The problem with everything I just said is that's usually a wick top, lower high short setup for me, but I already know you had to pay for locates, and it's probably a little bit late to do it, and I see a 5 to 10 cent spread. I might just get away from this one. I'm not sure there's going to be a trade here. If it was free locates, I might be interested in it, but if you have to pay for shorts, that kind of changes a little bit of that story. I don't know if I want to reload Lucid, to be honest with you, but we'll see what happens if it does get down there. There's always that chance. Meta is what I wanted to talk about next. I knew there was something I was forgetting. Meta 120. Here you see it broke 120 a couple of times, but at least in this last rollover in the market, you can see support at 120, support at 120 broke, now resisting 120, so this is where I zoom in. I liked it long earlier, but if the market wants to trend down, I think I can take a shot at this, short right in front of the 120 level, risk a little bit, and then see if we can't get another one to the downside.
I like that, Jeff Ross. I don't make 20-cent trades very often, but when I do, yeah, I mean, there it is right now. There's another one for Apple. We're long at 14s. We just took it out at 42 there, 40, whatever that 50-period moving average was, 43s. And now we're going back up to the upside, and we still keep on going. Like, again, we don't talk about the account size that we're trading or anything like that, but, you know, we're on a prop floor. We're not trading like our own accounts here. So, you know, we do have the ability to scalp in and out. And I mean, so I have over 130 fills today, fees of $10.16. So, you know, we're not paying for a lot of these fills that we're going in and out of. And if we are, it's very small. And then we make back the fee on adding liquidity. I've sort of gone over this already with a couple of you guys over and over again. So we won't keep on talking about it. But there's the reload. The really, you know, if there's anything I could be upset about, which is not much, we're at the highest spot we've been at all day. I'm only holding these 2 trades, right? So is the fact that we keep on reloading this. So like, just to show you guys an example. So like if you get long there at 135.20 and you get them out here at 135.90, right? So that's 70 cents. All right, then you reload that again and you take another 70 cents. Well, now you're up $1.40 and the move's only 70 cents. So you're doubling the move. Then it comes down again and you take the long again, and this time you take 40 cents. So now that's $1.40 plus another 40 cents, that's $1.80. Then it comes back down, and again, you're not reloading the full default. So that's why we have a problem when it shows those numbers at the end, because it doesn't give you an exact representation of exactly what we're doing. But the idea is that there's the reload again down there, and then here's another 50 cents. So like, if you just held this the whole time and don't have all of these outs, well then it's a sweat job. Every time it comes back down, you're thinking to yourself, why didn't I get out? You know? And that's why when Apple makes big moves like this, I'm getting a lot out here when we're in the money $1, $2, but then I only have a little bit when we're in the money $3 to the upside, right? So there is like give and takes to all of these different strategies, which is why we continue to say the same thing over and over again. Trade your own book, trade your own style, and you know, whatever you're comfortable with, you'll be good to go. And it's like what I said, you know, we had 9 as of yesterday. Remember I talked about the broker statements. We opened it up out of the 12 days this month. 9 of them were positive for me. Well, so we're 9 and 3, including yesterday, which was a red day. Today's going to be an up day, so now we're going to go 10 and 3, right? So, I mean, hopefully we keep our head focused here and don't lose a bunch into the close, which I don't think we'll do. But that's what trading's all about. Trade your own book, trade your own style, and at the end of the day, man, you'll be successful. And if you're not, then you know, you regroup.
Then go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, regroup.
Yeah, but this, we say it every single time. This is what this market is in the afternoons. And I know everybody always, what you want to have happen is power hour hits, you trend one direction, you grab the trend, and then the stocks are just going all crazy. And that was what last year was like. You get a nice little upward trend, or you get one of those pullbacks on a big day, and you just sit in that trade, and it's like, yeah, baby, we're just gonna ride a trend. That's what the mornings are for lately. And in the afternoon, you're seeing a lot of this. We have no choice but to ring the register inside of a range. So I just talked about 120 on Meta. Okay, short 90s. Take some out 80s, take some out 70s. This is what the market is giving you. Take what the market gives you and run to the races. And by the way, I love when I asked for advice on the chat, I got one person saying play your stud in Goddard, and someone else is like, yeah, but Engram's had a couple of big games lately, so now it's like I'm probably gonna play Dallas Goddard, but I felt like I didn't get some definitive advice. I should just tweet it like Matthew Berry or something, but I don't know. What's the point?
I mean, all these guys, it's statistical probabilities.
That's the thing.
Like I mean,
and you know what the other thing is too?
That's part
of me is what I should do is actually, and someone made this point, maybe I should check to see what the weather is going to be like, because both those are passing. There is going to be some serious weather on the East Coast this weekend. But
isn't the game in Philly?
I think we're getting. Actually, I haven't checked. I really don't know where the game.
Well, if it's against Dallas, you don't have to worry.
If it's in Dallas, I don't have to worry about it. But if it's in Philly, there could be weather, and I have no. I mean, I'm assuming the Jacksonville.
It's in Jets.
Jets game
at Jets.
That could have weather if it comes in early.
Will have weather.
So I got to be concerned about. If it's in Dallas, I don't have to worry about the weather at all. So that's probably a big thing. It's in. Someone saying in Dallas. I'm locking in Dallas Goedert. There you go.
And I think you got to lock him in anyways.
Yeah,
man.
make a decision based on quality information is what I'm trying to get at there. It's a long-winded way of saying it, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get all the braces for my kid. That's why I'm scalping in and out. No, okay. All right. Let's
I don't have
go
to worry
for
about
some
that
more.
for a
So
few
today,
years.
CRM. I was saying today, 52-week lows. Tesla, CRM, CrowdStrike.
CrowdStrike's at a 52-week low, eh?
Drop something. CRW. This is from when we had.
Why do you have hoop earrings?
No, because of when I was Travolta there.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Jules and Vincent.
Yep.
Why am I forgetting
All right,
those
that's
two
why that
names?
was there, and I was just playing around with it. Okay, let's look at CrowdStrike quickly here as 52-week low. I mean, I like this name. I've liked Palo Alto a hell of a lot better, but let's just look at The problem with CrowdStrike is it came with crazy valuations, and of
100's
course,
probably what it is.
it's been just a monster move. I don't know why we're missing some data here, but CrowdStrike to the downside right now, 230, 210. I mean, I don't even want to look where this name was before, but you're down at $100. I mean, I always think $100 is a good spot to possibly test some different longs in there. I'll let this load up and then we'll see here. I always am using this on Trade Ideas. We have 30% off, by the way, right now. I feel like, if you haven't tried their software, you can do different. You don't have to get the yearly package. I mean, anything you want there, 30% off. TraderTV 30, go use that over there. And you get some cool things like these races. Like right now, Unity, out of all this list that I have, and you can contact Michael Noss, he'll give you all my stuff. But Unity, Roblox, right now, Unity is relatively strong. Roblox is coming up on the second. Palantir, some of these stocks I'm talking about right now, in fact. So try out TraderTV 30 and get 30% off. But here it is right here. Oh, it just doesn't have a PE. Okay, so it doesn't have it, so that means it's not making any money. So we don't have to worry about a PE right now for CrowdStrike. But if you're going to go back into here, 100 looks, and again, it's not like I prepped this segment. I mean, CrowdStrike came up, and I talked about $100 being a pretty significant level. You could see right here, it goes all the way back to 2019, where 100 was stopped and then dropped, and then right back into here, it danced around 100 before really taking off to 3, and then right back in. So this is chopped down by 60% this year again, from 300 down to 100, and now we're going to wait to see what happens. So I would give it to $100 here, CrowdStrike on a 52-week low. Let me see. Hold on quickly. I just want to see what Pan W's at, because that's the one that I like. I am in Palo Alto, but it's a name that I've been holding for a very, very long time. And so that's also come. I haven't even looked at some of these names. Oh yeah, forget about our charts.
They just had a good earnings.
Yeah, but it reverse split. It actually split.
Yeah,
so there's Pan W here on a better chart. Yeah, 146. So yeah, they did have a high there on their earnings into the split, and now it's all the way back down. So yeah, a couple of these cybersecurity names, again, probably worth picking up if you haven't had any in your portfolio.
Did you show the daily on Palo Alto? Because that 140 level is a big one.
No, I mean, we just had it up right there,
Okay,
so yeah.
Yeah, as long as, the daily chart on Palo Alto is a good one because it's at a major support level. Micron, we get Micron earnings. Well, we're not going to get them yet, obviously, after the close, but they just popped to the downside pretty significantly in that last little retracement. We kind of saw what happened. It was FedEx, I think, sold off pretty heavily going into the close in front of their earnings. Sometimes you see that people go risk off there. So I'm kind of looking at this back at VWAP. If it comes back up there, before we get to 350 in the imbalances, I'd be more interested in that if it wants to give us an opportunity. I think I just missed out.
Oh, I wish I knew which way to go.
Enter twice on Airbnb. Why do I always have to hit enter twice when I'm pulling up a stock? I don't know why. But Airbnb just popped up to 87.20 again, but really didn't spend any time there. So I'm looking for the reload at that price. If I get it, I think it's just, maybe I'll go to 18 or something instead of looking for 20. But if I can get it, I think the same risk to reward as before is going to make sense. That's why I rejected the order, because I have to cancel that type of a stop order on Airbnb. So it's charging to the upside here, but there's not a lot of liquidity on this. So maybe I wanted to go a little higher, and then I can grab something maybe a little bit above 20. That might make some sense to me. Netflix, I need to jump in. I should just take this out, man. Like, Netflix is only giving the dollar, and I just talked about trading inside of the range, and then I'm trying to hold out for a bigger move on Netflix, right? It's like, do as you say, man. Practice what you preach. That's what I meant to say. Practice what you preach. If we're talking about this being range bound, then why am I not taking the range that's being given to me in Netflix? Because I could have done the same thing on Meta and Airbnb. and then make a little bit more, and then just jump back into the trade off that high. So that's what I'm going to try and do here in Netflix. Just play inside of this range. Lucid, by the way, is right back to my entry point. I have to consider whether I want to still be in Lucid at this point. You know, Lucid, it was good bouncing off these levels, but it's really reversed here. And it's coming right back down into that support. I guess I'll give it to like 718 or so, but I don't think I want to reload this trade. I think with the market pulling off here, I'd rather not be buying anything on a dip that isn't making bigger moves, and it's about to go red on the day as well. So it was a good long earlier, but there's been no good pops since about 30 minutes ago.
So I want to talk about a new trade idea, so we'll hit the alert for that one as it's 3:23. We still do have a little bit of opportunity here. Remember the imbalances, if you're joining us for the first time, those come out at 350. So technically speaking, I'll hold something into it, but it will never be a decent sized position because I'm not playing that game of guess which way it's coming out. That's pretty ridiculous. But right here for AMD, Brendan will get the update. So the update's coming at 3:30, by the way, for that one. But okay, just new trade alert, and that's what we're talking about right now. What about this? So here's AMD. I'll zoom it out here. So I can't do that because we have that bad wick. Hold on a second, guys. There it is right here. So let's have a quick look at this. So these bottoms of 67, obviously that's going to be an area of concern because if it comes back into here, you can go long 100%. Look where VWAP is. It's like a great area right there for this long. That's for sure. But I don't know if it's going to just continue to drip down. So we got to wait. So we got to wait here for 67 to come in, give it a little bit of room. This is 66.80. If you did want to hold it 20 cents against you, I think you could definitely make 20 cents back to 40 here. But that's not the trade that I'm most interested in. Obviously, if it drips down, we'll take that fill at 67.10 and then see what happens there. So that's going to be the one trade. But the second trade that I like is this break right here. Like, how good does this look at 67.40? To be honest with you, AMD's up 3.4%. The market right now up 1.4%. So I like that. I like that it's pulled back. I like that the market's still strong. So that's good. That bottom is holding. So if we do go long at 67.40, I can get out on this bottom hold. So that's 20 cents worth of risk. I think we easily have 20 cents worth of upside. All we got to do is get to that high, and that's 25 cents. So I like the structure of this trade. And then if we're right and the market rallies into the close here, not if we're right, I'm not predicting a rally, but if we're right on the position and the market rallies, then we take out these highs, then all of a sudden that's where we go to 3-to-1 again, which is kind of what we're looking for. So if we can get that trade, I like it. I like a break of 67. I actually put, now that the numbers are coming down, I guess I can put 42. I put 45 break, but now that we're coming in, it looks like it's going to be basically 67.40. So we're getting very close to doing that right now. I am going to adjust that price, put it out there as our Apple trade also continues to work. I'm just going to put that 67. Let's give it 67.41 or so there on this break. We're going to take it. The order's now in. Apple's still bouncing off the 200 period. Again, if the long's going to work, we've already taken this profit. It's well in right now. A couple good trade ideas here for you guys into the close. We've given you Apple. By the way, before I go to Brendan, because I know he wants to talk, we just took a 23 bid on Lucid, giving it to that 15 area. Let's see if Lucid wants to go. But that's my idea here for AMD. We could get punched into it pretty soon. Over to you, Brendan.
Watch Pfizer here, guys. Just seeing a note on this one. This is the OTC listing for Roche. Roche is a Swiss listed stock, but the FDA just approving their COVID-19 treatment pill. Pfizer also obviously has a similar one, but RHHBY on the OTC is Roche. Again, an ADR listed in the Swiss market, but this could move as well, guys.
Yes, bills foreign, Swiss francs. Before I die, I want my money in a Swiss bank. Every time you say that, Brendan, or bring it up, I always think it in my head, and I'm going to say it out loud because that's how I roll. I did just barely miss the reload in Airbnb, but the next leg of Meta, I want to get a chance at, you know what, I should just take some out in the 70s. What am I sitting here? If it's like these ranges are so much tighter going into the close that I just feel like you almost have to scalp a little bit more aggressively than you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and make that adjustment. I did tell you guys, I know Shawn got more shares of Lucid in here. I'm going to stay away from that, but I'm going to cancel these offers. And if I get a pop into VWAP on Lucid, I'll be pretty happy to just go ahead and take that. So hopefully, yeah, those orders, that was a little bit of a delay. You heard me hit the key there. But if it just makes any pop into VWAP, I want to take Lucid out. So I'll be perfectly happy to get any consolidation break. I think we can stick a fork in two things. OP's not moving, barcoding, that'll reverse split tomorrow. CEI is not doing much of anything. And I do want to go back to this MLGO. It did get back to the high of the day. Now, I didn't pay for locates, so obviously you're not going to see me short this because, like I said, I didn't pay for locates to be able to do so. If you're looking at this top break, there's overhead resistance from yesterday at 230. That always concerns me with a long break. Usually my approach is, if I see a double top and want a long off of that level, then what I would be doing is scalping some of it almost immediately so that you're playing with a little bit of house money as it goes into that overhead resistance, and you don't have to worry about that break. You've already got some. As I was just talking, I was able to get that next fill on Meta, so we'll go ahead and power up for power hour scalp trading inside of the range, whether it's long, whether it's short. It's definitely working out. If we extend the move to the downside and it comes out of sell imbalance, then I like the short to VWAP, just like I would like Airbnb to the low of the day. It's just until we get a break out of these ranges, I want to continue to trade the range. So I'm going to pop back on the offer in front of 120 because that's what we do.
All right, yeah, and of course we get, I mean, for some reason there, AMD goes oppo the market and rips up, fills us, and as the market goes to the downside. So I actually like that. The same reason why we were a little bit nervous about our NVIDIA trade. AMD kind of went up against the market there. I feel like, you know, let me average into this. Normally I don't want to average in, but I already have my trade, and I'm just wondering if, I will in a second, I'm just wondering if that level is going to hold. So we got a 30, we got a 40. Let me put another half the amount of shares back in here at 30, okay, to have an average price. And if we break below this 20, then we're out. We'll take a 20, what am I long at, 42, we'll take it like a 25-cent hit on this. We've already planned this out. I can't believe I'm talking like this and it's 5 cents against me. All right, hit the like button. We don't have very many likes right now. I mean, I feel like every show we do is the best show. I'll hit the like myself right there. Do the thumbs up, 600 likes. Let's see if we can get that to at least 1,200. Right now, 4,300 people watching. There's your promo for Trader TV 30 on trade ideas. Definitely hit the like button. Like, let's. It's embarrassing how low that is.
I'm going to be the 700th. Oh no, I missed.
Someone beat you. 750. Let's go, man. This needs to get up there a little bit. Some of the ideas that we've given, we've talked a lot today about that. I'm negative on one stock. That's going to be, well, no, now two because we have Nvidia and Tesla there, and then actually, you know, we talked about CEI. Again, it's for me, I don't, oh God, now the chart's not gonna load. Oh no, the chart is loaded fine. Okay, just that was reverse split. We did lose on CI today, so that's, you know, we had some good wins there, but then that last trade that we took, we wound up getting out at 3 when it broke 390. So that is actually a red stock for me today. And, you know, again, had it, thought there was gonna be a big move there. We got in and out a couple times, a little bit of profit, but at the end of the day, we take a 20-cent hit after that long right there, 410 break. We went long and got out at 390, so that's 20 cents. But we did take at least 15 or so when it popped back up. But yeah, CEI, kind of a nothing burger today, but hey, we're responsible for everything that we trade. So, all right, not much else. I like the AMD trade, and basically I'm just gonna sit in this. We already have the plan, an average in at 30 if we get it, dump it off at 20, and then, you know, I'll reassess that going long down here at VWAP at 67. But here we go. We're right back into the money. Well, we were right back to flat there. I think this is a good one. We're long at 41.
I just thought, I don't know if this is true, but someone just said in the chat, Chris McGinnis, the shorts are working. So like now, because I might not get the top of the range again to get in, it's more about holding on to your shorts. Small buy side imbalance I'm seeing here, but someone just said Debo Samuel got Pat McAfee to buy shares of AMC. I'll tell you this much, if he got him to do that, then I'm drafting you next year, Debo Samuel. That's absolutely hilarious. But obviously, you should not necessarily take, like, why would you ever take stock
That's not
picking
true.
advice? I don't think it's true. But I'll believe anything because they do a fun show, I'm assuming, so I'm sure it was all just fun and jokes.
Oh, wow.
And I like, Debo Samuel's a great player, but he's a lot of fun. At this point, I kind of feel like the market, if we get it's a buy-in balance of 206,000. I was about to say, okay, so it's a small buy imbalance, but I was about to say, if it was a good sell imbalance, I think we're going to get the low of the day here on some of these stocks, like Airbnb, like Intel, like Meta that I'm holding, or Meta for VWAP, but it's a small buy. I'm going to have trailing stops on everything going into this close. And speaking of the one thing I didn't get a chance to trade, Intel, when you just said AMD popped up, Intel also made a bit of a move back into VWAP here. I want to go to the 3-minute chart. If this breaks out from VWAP, I'm just getting out of this. I've been holding for this to break 2670 and hit the low of the day all day long. It ain't going to happen at this point. I feel like if it was going to, it would have already happened. Micron reports aftermarket, that kind of tanked a bit, and Intel still couldn't break that level. So I'm just going to get out of this if it cracks a couple of pennies higher. Maybe the strongest day that Intel's had in quite some time, and I got to give it credit.
All right, you're damn right, Small Ben. Let's cook, man. Let's get cooking here on AMD. We just took a 49 fill there. We're going to get out at 50, or we're not getting out at 50, sorry. We're going to take a 50 fill. We got it. That's 10%. Those of you that watch know that that's what we're talking about. We are really indicating up here, man, like if we can get a 60 fill, that's only 10 cents away from where we were getting it. So, again, the risk to the downside is 20 cents. We talked about that. Wish we would have got that reload because then it would have looked even better. But right now, yeah, we're going to put another offer all the way up near that 60 level. I mean, let's just go 1-to-1 and then hold the rest of this until we moon. What's up, Niner gang? Part of the reason why I am in last is because of your boy Trey Lance. He's got to come back healthy. But now I'm worried. I'm not worried because there's no draft capital in Brock Purdy. There's a 3rd overall pick in Lance, Trey Lance, but.
In Brock, they trust me.
Yeah, but not trust me. He's well. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if they win the Super Bowl, then I guess
they
they'll have
ain't
to,
winning the Super Bowl.
They have to. I think they're going to represent the NFC,
and
then they'll have to deal with Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Mahomes is just leveled. So the only thing is,
oh yeah, I agree with you there.
Mahomes has just leveled his game up as opposed to Josh Allen. He needs a little bit more. I think this time because he's been in what 3 playoffs, Josh Allen?
I will agree with this much.
2 playoffs.
Patrick Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill, and everyone's like, he ain't going to be the same without him. And the Chiefs' offense is better than ever.
It's ridiculous.
So I can't sit here, and I'm the biggest Bills homer you'll ever see. But if I don't get to cast a vote, but if I got to cast a vote for MVP, I think it would be criminal not. I would pick Patrick Mahomes based on that Tyreek Hill thing alone. I understand the argument for Hurts. He's as good. But it's hard to say Josh Allen this year. He'd be the first to tell you he's not happy with the way he played a couple of those games. And that's what I love about Josh Allen. Like, what's really bloody cool about him is he'll be like, you know what, I sucked today. I could have been better. I made a bad decision here or there. Then he goes and he puts it out on the line. Unlike other quarterbacks that are like, they let their defense down and someone asks him about it and he's like, did you let him down?
He's a good leader.
And I'm not naming any names, Jets quarterback.
Well, even Green Bay. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers, like, oh, we have too many rookie wide receivers. Like, well, then throw the ball better. I mean, maybe they'll catch it. But I still love Aaron Rodgers, and obviously we won there against stupid Rams. But we'll see. Spending that money. I mean, again, I don't know. Like, there's our fill. You know,
there we go.
You guys take whatever profit you want. I mean, but honestly, at the end of the day, we're cruising here again now, and pretty happy. You could see the chill. I mean, we're talking about fantasy football while we have real money on the line. But why are we chilled out? Because, again, we have that plan of action. And, like, we've put out challenges and things like that, and we are trying to work on something where we can maybe have some sort of a challenge with you guys out there. But like this for me now, it's pretty decent. Like, I don't know, like I said, I don't know how many shares everybody's trading with, but you know, you can capture 16, 17 cents just kind of like moving around like this. Like we said, so out of all these fills I had, my fees are still sub $11 right now. So I'm pretty happy with the way we've been trading me that right now. What's up, Saad? Yeah, it sickens myself sometimes that I'm a Packers fan. Trust me on that one. But what is going on with Endo?
That's what makes you a fan. Now. It makes you. Oh, by the way, just I want to update one thing here. The market bouncing a little bit. Airbnb, the low of the day, I like for an out. So I am on the bid to take the low of the day. Just because we're getting a bit of a bounce in the market, so I would expect there were so many buyers at the open at 86.70 that I do want to take this out there, and just going to adjust that order because, you know what, I say this so many times, like, why would you ever bid at the even? So I just adjusted it ends up, of course, right when I say that, it blows right through 86.70, but I was sitting there at 70, I just moved it up to 71, I got the fill, so I'm out. We'll cash in on this one. And the best thing about this trade was the fact that I was looking at, what were the two stocks I was looking at shorting? Netflix first, and then Meta. So Meta and Netflix were the ones so Moderna as well. So there's actually 3 things I was looking at. And then somebody else was like, have a look at Airbnb. And then the second I looked at it, there's your capitulation down, there's your consolidation off previous support, there's your run to the low of the day. That's what trading is all about. I know the setup I like. I'd still look at it and find the setup for the trade, but I wasn't looking at Airbnb. It's already down in a weak market. A lot easier to short something that's heading toward the lows and is relatively weak than is up at the top. And maybe that's why I couldn't get into Moderna, because it just never gave me the opportunity to get in. Trickier trade. But Airbnb, thank you guys for bringing that one to our attention. It was a good one to the short side. I'm now out of it as the market bounces, and we got 10 minutes till imbalances, Brendo.
Just going through a relative strength list here, guys. This one popped up at the top. 2.8% today for Caterpillar. Just took out 52-week highs for Caterpillar and is now exactly $3 away. Yeah, $3 away from all-time highs for CAT.
You know, I just recently, this was, when did I trimmed some Caterpillar, I think it was late November. And I remember reading something, I know this is true. A lot of people will say you should never sell at a 52-week high or an all-time high. My argument, and the reason why I wanted to trim some, was I thought if it failed a lower high, that you'd get back to like the 50 period or the 200, and then there'd be a chance to just get back into those shares. But this is a super strong stock, and I'm pulling it back here because if it continues this trend, you're on a collision course with a monster resistance, and you go right back into the beginning of 2021. So this isn't gonna show up. A lot of times you go all the way back. When in doubt, zoom out. But 247 to 250 is a monster level for Caterpillar. Oddly enough, it is breaking channels today, so we got to be watching this one. At least I'll be watching it pretty closely as it gets toward that 250 level. Not necessarily going to be putting on a trade in the last 20 minutes here, but this does bear some attention. I'm trying to hold Apple for 136, but I don't think we're going to get that move. Should have been scalping it like Shawn was. I liked scalping the shorts because I was kind of thinking we're going to flush today in the afternoon, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. I'm going to get to, no, it wasn't Alphabet. I meant to go to Google. So Alphabet, it didn't give me that shot to short it off 90. I think that's going to be a good level for tomorrow. I want to set that one up for a potential breakout through that 90 to 90-10 area. Looks like it'll be a clean one if we can hold around this range. But Google did not give me the short. I was looking for the same thing in Google that I was looking at in Meta, Moderna. What was the other one? Airbnb was kind of different, but Netflix was the other that we got the successful short on. I just never got the entry in Alphabet. Otherwise, I would have done the same.
All right. Yeah, how much time we have? 10 minutes. 10 minutes till imbalances, so I'm going to start to take out a little bit here as the, it's coming in now. I mean, AMD just broke 60, so that's going to be a good trade for us to the upside. We're just relaxing. I still have 40% of it. Did we just bounce off 60 there? 60 was a level that I was looking at. I was waiting at 63. There it is as we spike through. We take out a 58 right there. But, okay. Now we'll just wait to see. Look at this 63 top. This is sort of the pie in the sky trade that I thought we could get. Remember why we went long at 40? I said we can get the 1-to-1. We are now out of half of it though, but most of our outs are right here. 55s, 56s. We just took a 58. And we did take an early one at 50, but they're all getting out right against this one. So we're going 1-to-1. We're holding out for half. I have one more fill at this 63 to come, so hopefully that'll come out right now, and then we'll hold for that high of the day. All right, and then the other trade that I have on board now that's making me a little bit nervous. The Lucid trade is, I wish Lucid would drop a little bit and I could load it up.
I just got trailed out.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I'll have to look at that. It's not a big position at all. There goes AMD, by the way. We just got that 63 fill. But look at Apple. Apple's doing the same thing, right? It's barcode nation a little bit. We've been really milking this long boom, 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 boom. And then now we're going to take it out again here. But this one, I don't have too many shares. We've really done well on AMD. We're going to finish the day at our highest spot, like I said here, unless disaster strikes, which I don't expect that to happen. So we're almost out of everything. So there's no way. I could give some unrealized profits back as we're now out of 60%. There's the fill right there at 63. We're now out of 60% of AMD. And you know what? Now that we've already got that, there I go, punch out 55 a little bit more. Now we only have 30%. It's just like, hey, let's just get it out. Now we have 7 minutes until these imbalances come out. There we go. Now we only have 30%. So if it drips back down and we happen to take an L on the last little bit, so be it. I'll just buy a lesser bottle of wine. But here we go. The market's come back in a little bit. There's my Lucid. We could talk about this real quick, but at the same time, my kids have gymnastics and karate tonight. Oh no, it's acro and karate.
Which means one has gymnastics, the other has karate.
Yeah. So mine, one has acro and one has karate.
What's acro?
Dance, like acro.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if it's acrobat.
No,
they're not. Yeah.
I know what you mean now.
Yeah. And then, so anyways, I was looking to get Lucid a little bit more here at 720. I don't know if we actually want that price. It's faded down. You know what? I'm just going to get out. We break through. I mean, we're at 20 right now. All right, I'm canceling. I'm not going to average in. I was going to do it, but I'm going to cancel it right now. Sometimes I don't have much conviction, and when I don't have that, then I'm not just going to sit in there. We did take another fill there, but again, it was a light one. We can't go red on Lucid today, so if we break this level right here, this bottom of 17, let's get out. Let's give it to 15. So that's going to be the Lucid trade. In case the imbalances come out in our favor, we'll watch out for that Lucid. But for right now, we're basically just cleaning out of everything right now, and we'll go from there. You are 100% right. I just pay the bills. That's it. I don't ask any questions, man. The wife made some sick soup last night with some pastina in it. It was amazing. And tonight it's chicken wings. Maybe the last time to barbecue for a while.
Barbecue? I ain't barbecuing, man.
Yeah. We'll probably barbecue.
It's too cold.
That's the thing. If it's my barbecue's on the deck, and if it's too windy, then the flame basically is very ineffective. So it may be a baking wings.
So you know what my wife got the other day? By the way, I'm now going to bid this channel, the bottom of the channel here on Meta here, because it doesn't want to break out. So I'm just going to, if it only goes to 60s, I'll just take that scalp trade. But my wife got this, it's like this, it's essentially because we don't have like a fire pit in our backyard.
Oh yeah, we have one of those
So we got
too.
one of those like portable ones in there.
Oh, portable one, okay.
It's like a nice little, I don't even know what you call it, but these are amazing. We were roasting marshmallows the other day. Like, it's
Wait a minute, it's gas?
No, it's actually wood burning.
Wood burning.
However,
Okay, I was gonna say,
the way the cylinder is constructed, I don't actually understand all of the science around it. I should probably read up on it. But you get almost no smoke, so it's really good for kids because you don't have to worry about smoke blowing in your face. Now it's a lot hotter than normal, so you have to be careful when you're doing your roasting your marshmallows.
Nice.
But it's really cool. You just throw it into the back. There's a little bit less worry about like I feel pretty comfortable letting it burn out as opposed to more maybe monitoring something a little bit more.
Yeah, that's because that's illegal.
Well, yeah.
There's
all kinds of rules about having a fire pit.
You're actually not allowed. So the only way you're allowed to have a fire pit, and yours is going to classify for that, you have to have a grid near there. It has to be so that when the it wouldn't be a police officer. It would be a bylaw officer. When a bylaw officer comes, I don't know your relationship with your neighbors is probably fine, but yeah, they could call the bylaw officer and.
There was a lot.
You know what though? I mean, if the bylaw officer is worried about a backyard.
I'm not making this up.
Fire marshal, that used to be me.
When they had the COVID lockdowns. And like you're not supposed to have like a bunch of people at your place. It's like everyone's supposed to stay at home.
People were pretty.
The amount of snitching that was going on. I'm not saying it was in my direct neighborhood. It was pretty cool, but there was a lot of snitching going on in Brampton, which I think.
Probably everywhere, man.
It is what it is, man. Like people were like, if I didn't like you and they saw 2 cars in your driveway, it's like snitch central. Was happening during the COVID
I just want to say,
by the way, I just got out of
I
just got out of Meta, so I'm ringing the register. All I have is left is Apple. Not breaking channel, take channel out, make your profit, move on, and balances in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Mr. David Maldonado. We talked about Candy Maldonado the other day.
Candy.
Thank you so much for the awesome trade ideas today. You are welcome, man. I mean, that's what we're here all about. I do have 3 trades on right now, and yeah, it's been a good one. I mean, I think we've given so far today in this period for the closing show, we've taken Apple long and a couple times, and we've explained it 3 times. We explained it every time why we did that and where we liked it. And then I went over in detail why I like this AMD trade, even hit this thing to let you guys know before. This is the other thing, right? Atlas Group, all these guys, whatever. I'm not going to say bad stuff about anybody sometimes, but not in this case because I don't know anything about it. But like this AMD trade, I talked about this when we were down here. I wasn't in the trade. So then all of a sudden I get into talk about the trade before the trade. I mean, how else can we make money? That's why we give you this. That's why I give the sticky note every day. Apple long 134 was all over the sticky note this morning. I mean, before the market even opened, we went to 137.50 or something today. Or how high did we go? 136.50, 136.90, right? So, I mean, some of these ideas are there before the trade even happened. So I hope you're satisfied. I hope you're happy with everything today. And if you are, definitely hit that like button. We not only have 2 minutes to go before these imbalances come out. This is what they look like. Obviously, the time is 9:30. These will all update at 3:50, and that's why we're starting to get out. Like, I only have 30% of AMD. I'm hoping for a bid imbalance. Brendan brought us a buy, right? So I'm pretty sure it's flipped on us every day this week and last week. It'll probably come out a small sell is my prediction, but who knows? For right now, we're cruising with 40 cents in the money on Apple and 25 cents in the money on AMD. And Lucid is a lame duck. Unfortunately, it's going to sit there. I'm going to take a 10-cent hit on this when it breaks 15, and that's the end of that one. I get out right now and lose a cup of coffee, but we're going to give this to 7.15, only a minute and a half, as the market's bouncing.
Yeah, I just realized I hadn't moved my trailing stop on Apple. Like, this is the one that I didn't decide to scalp, which obviously you can see how good it was. I like scalping short today. You could have just scalped every single range in either direction. It didn't matter. But I'm now getting an offer in front of 136. If it comes out a buy, hopefully it'll spike up and get me out. Otherwise, if it breaks this channel to the downside, just an easy out there. Airbnb, I feel like it was a good chance to get out. It hit the bottom, hit the low of the day. I mean, this is not rocket science. Hits the low of the day support, and then bounces as the market bounces a little bit higher. I will not be getting back in with less than a minute to go to the imbalances. If it comes back up, there's no more scalping these trades. I doubt I'll get into anything else. I covered my Intel. I covered that Lucid as well, so we're not going to be in either one of those. That MGLO, by the way, I know a lot of you were looking at whoops, it's MLGO. You look at so many symbols, and sometimes it happens. It ends up double topping, gives that perfect entry, failing the high, and then going into VWAP. However, I said you had to pay for locates, and I almost never am going to, if it's at 340 and I don't love the trade, why would you pay for locates on a stock? If you pay for them in the morning, then you can trade it all day long, trade it as many times as you want. If you pay for it at 350, you get one shot and one shot alone, which has to change the risk to reward, in my estimation. To me, it did, but the trade would have worked.
All right, here we go, guys. Just real quick, because the imbalances are coming out. Oh, they're out. We didn't even miss it. I just got some out at 62. I posted that on there. Let's look quickly at the imbalance right now. Buy for Apple, so that's going to be a good one. I'm going to assume that AMD went to the downside. This is ABMD, not AMD. That's a sell there. Apple with a buy. That's a nice little buy to the upside. PayPal's there as a sell. I don't know what just created. I mean, Apple, again, with a buy, what did that number come out? 40 million shares to sell, and we just ticked all the way down here. So again, this goes to show you, you don't need to hold these trades forever into those imbalances. So there's another piece out. We're only holding 20% of AMD, but it has fallen right back in to the level that we were long initially. So, all right, I'm not going to average this back in. Those are your imbalances. I don't know how a 40 sell imbalance is, that's correct, right, Brendo? 40 million? Like, why that sends the market reeling this much, honestly, is surprising, but, the market's a funny game. I don't have much else to go on right now, other than I'm just going to start to clean out some of these positions. Let's put an offer at 50 here. I actually had an offer for AMD at 67.80, literally the high there that we were sort of going for. But as you saw by those imbalances, that didn't come out. I'll take an out at 50, and then we'll hold out for a reversal trade into that high. And then in comes Apple again, breaking 135, and we're going to get out. I'm not buying any bottoms anymore. There's the out, comes in, we're out. Wow, the market's really getting hit here.
Yeah, I got trailed out. And we talked about it just now. Like, I got trailed out of Apple there when it made that tight stop. So it doesn't break 135, but I just tightened. I always tighten the stop up at this time of day because I don't want to give it all the way back. But for the record, it is still holding that 135 area. It has not broken support, which bodes really well. I'll tell you this much. If we close above 135, and if the market rolls over and Apple holds this level, then I think it's going to be a good sign. I just want to go to the 15-minute here very quickly. Zoom out. I just want to go to the 15 because if you're holding this breakout level and then holding a higher low, I think you can channel up, and then I'd be targeting a move to 140. toward the end of the month. But first things first, you need to hold up here, which would be pretty important. I didn't see anything that really stood out there. There was a couple of names. You mentioned there, Apple. I think you said Apple to buy, right?
It was, and it went down. That's why the funny
no,
thing
it's
is.
$3 million to buy, and it went down. That just tells me it's going to pair off. I don't have my big one. Sorry, you know what? Do you have it up there?
Yeah, I have it up.
Okay,
I thought you were showing it.
No, I had my. Yeah, I had the chart up there. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it is a buy, which is strange.
Oh, that's the test stock is there.
Oh, ZVZZT.
So the funny story about ZVZZT.
I can show it up if you want. It's
ZVZZT, my understanding, it's still the case because it's been this way for 20 years. It's like a test stock that they test out quotes and new fee things on that stock. And the cool thing was, back in the day, if you were a trainee, what we used to do is say, oh my God,
40 million
look
shares.
at this ZVZZT stock, it's moving, you should trade it. And then a trainee would jump in, try to trade the stock, not realizing you don't get any of your P&L. So you'd look like you could make like $100,000 on the stock or something stupid, and then you'd be like, yeah, by the way, none of those trades actually count. And it was a bit of a joke we used to play on people back
I like that, the ZVZZT, yeah. All right, so that's just a test stock, so that's why you never see it show up.
I remember
it's done 41 million shares today. Well, it shouldn't show up on any scanners.
Because sometimes it would print to like a penny or something stupid.
Yeah,
and
so this is basically someone probably testing a closing order just to make sure it works.
Yeah.
So that's what that is. It's a test symbol, ZVZZT, right there. Okay, now the market's starting to bounce back up a little bit, so maybe we do get that Apple high. We're just going to get out right here if it does get us out. It's been topping out at 60, so let's just go over here, put our order out on Apple. Hey, look, if we get a 60 fill, we get a 60 fill. I don't know if it's going to come through, but that's what we're going to look for. I'm getting greedy, man. I'm waiting for 56. Like, I'm literally waiting for that high right there. See if we can get it. We're going to get greedy on that one. AMD, the greed has hurt us because we could have got out for flat. But again, we'll lose a little bit here on our last 20%. Just seeing if we can hold this out in 7 minutes the market's closed. In 30 seconds, we will get an update on all of these. So I'm guessing AMD was a sell, and that's why it went down. But again, Apple went down also, and it was a big Apple. You know what's strange here? Like, this Apple is sitting here at 5 million shares. Now it's 3.7, but here comes the reversal. If that stays, I'm canceling my 56. What happened? Holy shit, I just got out at 56. I couldn't even cancel it in time right there. Wow, Apple, look at that move. I mean, we'll hit the register for that, but there's the move. I was literally on my order hitting escape when it filled. So we'll take the fill, but I said I was getting greedy there at 56. Yeah, buddy, there goes AMDZ to the upside as well. So we're spending some money. AM Dizzle in the hizzle right now, and it is Foshizi, my Wheezy, to the upside as it just continues to go.
Up-seasy.
Yeah, big time move right there. I better stop before I say other things because
that's the problem.
You got to watch out where you go with that. But there it is, right to the upside. Nice fill, man. Yes, sir. Today, Ice Cube is a good day.
You know, I remember seeing something. You might see me in that AMBD that has that big imbalance. They're going into the close. I might auction that one, but. Someone did the research and actually figured out the day that he was talking about, based on, like, he talks about there's a basketball game going on. So they figured out what the weather was like. I thought that was pretty cool. I love pop culture. We kind of don't always talk about earnings unless you have the massive ones out there, but we do. Obviously, yesterday, FedEx, Nike, Micron is going to be in play here, just going into the close. It did make a bit of a bounce back to the upside here in Micron. The 50 level, look, let's be real. 50 level is going to be significant. I think everyone can understand that. If it gets below 50, the stock is in a lot of trouble. I know that Micron has a great and fantastically low PE ratio, but that doesn't really matter for this cyclical stock. If it can't hold 50, they're in a little bit of trouble here. I think the risk is, if that 50 doesn't hold, you got the bottoms down, and you could be taking out some fresh lows. I think it's going to be a good stock at some point next year. Timing it is going to be the tricky thing because, like I said, they're a little more cyclical, and in a recession, it can be tricky to find bottoms in something like that. So it's always a dollar cost average of those things. But tomorrow, 50 level, massive for MU.
Massive. Okay, we're almost done, man.
passes.
There's only 3 minutes left. I hope you guys all had a good time. I was just reading over the chat, man. Thank you for all the love, for sure. It's very important to us that you guys hit the like button and really, sort of, get going on, supporting the channel, because, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're here every day completely for free. I want to thank Bears vs. Bulls and everybody. It looks like Lucid is just going to break lower here and continue to go down. We're gonna take an L on this one, but it's nowhere, like, it's not even in the realm of anything. So, Lucid will take a 10-cent hit, but you just saw us take, like, I don't know where Apple's going to go. I meant to cancel that. It kind of went up to 80 there. Like, that's how crazy and wild these imbalances could be. And I'm just glad that a lot of you traders out there hopefully have, like, witnessed part of how we trade and what these imbalances mean and why we're there on them. And, like, you don't get that. Like, that Apple move just went 80 cents, basically. 135 bottom to that 80 top. Like, it doesn't get too much cleaner than that, right? So big time movement right there. Pretty happy with it and cannot complain at all. So there it is right now. Apple, nice little move. AMD as well. It's 20 cents in the money. I think we might as well just get out of this. I'll put an offer at 60. Maybe it fills me, maybe it doesn't. There it is. We got that fill there as it rips right through. So good trade out now, as I can just start to cancel basically every stop order except for Lucid, because that's going to fill once we break 15. So I might as well just get out of this. It is going to break 15. Here we go to the downside. There's a big NASDAQ there with only a minute and a half left or whatever there is. I don't really expect too much more to happen, so I'm offering, you know what, I got to cancel my AMD offer there, and just look at this Lucid. So LCID, I mean, can we get a 16? Maybe we can. I don't know. We'll offer it, see if we get that. Oh, just ripped up. So there it is. We're done. Instead of getting, I can cancel that. Instead of getting 13s, we'll take a 16, take a 9-cent L there on that. But here we go, man. If you're fine, I mean, I can keep going. Ford. Let's just look over these. Yeah, let's just look over these imbalances right now. Okay, so Ford right here. Oops, it's gone. Apple's gone. Everything's basically gone. So let's just wait to see what happens.
Yeah, like you'll see me, and there's actually there's another stock that has a huge imbalance, but I don't recognize it. Cores, I have no idea what that is, but I did grab that AMBD. Apple eventually came right back into VWAP here. Fahad just said in my ear, and this is killing me, that Kendrick Perkins has declared that Jokic is the most skilled center of all time. Of all time. That is a bold statement by Kendrick Perkins. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. Kendrick Perkins, he obviously played against some great players, but
I think the problem with all that
that's a bold-ass statement. Who's on the bell, by the way, in 10 seconds, guys?
Probably nobody. Okay, nobody's on the bell, but we only have, 7.
In 5.
It'll be an empty bell.
3, 2, don't hurt yourself, Fahad. 1.
What happened? Did he throw it? I missed it.
He threw it.
Oh, he threw it. I missed it.
He threw it, and it was you know what? I'm actually a little bit impressed by that, Fahad. Because I'm like,
why? Because Fahad hit a target that was 4 feet away? Nah. I ain't impressed.
With Fahad, I am impressed by that.
Oh wow, you didn't. Yeah, I guess you didn't have.
I didn't think he could do that.
Too much faith in Fahad there. But okay, guys, that was really good, man. Yeah, we do need someone to permanently ring the bell. I thought we did have somebody, but we'll get them back in again. So far, so good, man. I don't know why I'm on UMC right here, but that was a good one, man. So far, so good. Let's go over to Brendan. And we called an up day. I mean, I turned this guy around. It's on the sticky note. Let's go over to Brendan, see how we end up.
Oh, man, that was great. Nicely green, as you guys are saying. Here we go. Right across the board, 1+% for everything. 1.5, 1.6 for the Dow, 1.5 there for the Russell. Same story for the composite and the 100 NASDAQ. 1.5 kind of a day, guys. Good to see after the beginning of the week.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take it, man. I don't know what time we're going to get Micron, but obviously, if it were to come out in the next minute or two, we'll let you know. We just never really know with these things. Not like we traded. We just want to get that information out to you. Good day. I would love to see it continue tomorrow, but a big major chip name is reporting. That could definitely change things. If it's ugly enough, I think you can put under pressure some of those chip names going into tomorrow. But we'll see. We got to trade it as it comes. Plenty of opportunities out there in the market, regardless of what we see.
So right now we have 3, I just saw this come through, 4 market caps that are all really similar. You guys tell me which stock you want to invest in. ExxonMobil, Visa, Tesla, and NVIDIA are pretty much all the same market cap. right now.
How long I gotta hold
Exxon,
it?
Visa, Tesla, and Nvidia. Fahad just telling me Micron's out right now. I hope to God it's along. Well, remember yesterday we had FedEx, it ripped up and then it
Same
came
thing.
back down. So, I mean, this doesn't look as violent. The numbers are what they're going to be. I don't know if we have them yet, but it doesn't really matter. There's Micron right now. Looks like it wants to go a little bit lower. This is what the aftermarket's all about. Very illiquid, needless to say.
You can't do stop triggers on breaks of consolidations. You just can't do it, because if you did that here, it's like if it breaks the high, I'm going to go long thinking it's good, and that's a report. Well, you trigger long here, and now it's all the way down at 50. There was a time way back in the day where I think people were doing that and was relatively successful.
Right.
Now it's kicking your butt because they're just running the stops in both directions. And then it's just, algos
And there it goes again, 51.40, 51.50. Yeah, it's still moving around. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up. We have our trade of the day coming through. It's going to be Nike. You can watch that. So far, so good here in the aftermarket as we have Micron reporting. I want to say a big shout out to Fahad. Thanks so much today. Thanks to Randy for running on the board as well. A big shout out to Luca and Sharif for the midday show. That was fantastic. Thanks, Brendan, for dropping some of that news, that OP, the halt, the back and forth there. That was pretty crazy for a while. A few more halters in there as well. And then I hope you got a couple good trade ideas today. And if you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. But most importantly, join us tomorrow. I want to give a shout out to Bears vs. Bulls as well, and to you guys, our trading community. Look, we wouldn't even have a show if you guys didn't keep on logging in. So a big shout out to everybody every single day as Micron goes right back up to the highs again. So this is just a nuts move here. You want to say anything about that, Brenda, or?
There's a restructuring plan they're talking about. Decisive actions going to be taken to cut their supply and expenses. So saying the right things, at least here for Micron.
All right, so Micron up right now 2.6% in the after hours, just touching 52. All right, let's wrap this up. Guess what? We got some videos to shoot. So let's do some of those. And we're going to say once again, thank you to everybody for joining us here today. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and join us again tomorrow at 8:30 when, guess what? We do it all over again. So from everybody here at Trader TV Live, that's Neil, Brendan, I'm Shawn, and we will catch you tomorrow, 8:30. Ciao, guys.